CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, July the 3rd. It is still cloudy out there. We got a small chance of drizzle hanging over us. We should start to see it clear up a little later today. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. Right now, though, the news begins, and we say good morning to Lisa Best.
Good morning. Thank you, Ryan. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith stood side by side yesterday, announcing a proposed route for that new bitumen pipeline to the BC coast. Running from the northeast of Edmonton to the southern BC coast and delivering more than 1 million barrels per day to tankers and then on to Asian markets. The Prime Minister says a new proposed oil pipeline route makes the most sense. He says this is especially true since the line already exists and serves as a gateway to the world's fastest growing market.
This is more than just an accord. It's also an approach that gives certainty to our businesses to build. Canada and Alberta will be equal partners in this project. As I said, meaningful ownership stakes available for Indigenous communities. We'll also benefit from Indigenous contracting and employment alongside funding to strengthen that capacity.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says the profits from the pipeline will generate billions in revenue over the coming decades for the province and the federal governments. Now, instead of a northern route, as the Premier of Alberta had earlier said she preferred, the pipeline is largely to follow the path of the existing Trans Mountain pipeline to southern BC. Mark Mackey is the CEO of Trans Mountain, a Crown corporation. He declined to say what percentage of the line that entity would hold.
As far as our role, we're there really as the developer, I would say, the project manager, and then eventually the operator, because the system will integrate really well with our legacy pipeline.
The pipeline would run from Bruderheim northeast of Edmonton to a terminal in Delta. What's in it for BC? Some $200 billion worth of upgrades to our province to allow the line to go through. Canadians continue to hop aboard planes even as the tickets remain well above last year's level.
Travel search platform CFAX says domestic economy airfares stood 11% higher in late June than a year earlier, while international fares were comparable year over year. Air Canada and other major North American airlines have said demand going into peak travel season is proving resilient despite geopolitical instability in parts of the world. Travel expert Barry Choi says as long as demand holds steady, airlines have little incentive to lower their fares despite fuel prices coming back down to earth. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
Well, if you woke up with a bit more cash in your account, it could be the federal government's boosted affordability benefit. Eligible Canadians will start receiving quarterly payments today from the Canada Groceries Essentials benefit. That benefit, formerly called the GST-HST credit, is aimed at lower-income homes. Recipients already received a one-time June payment worth 50% of the annual benefit, and quarterly payments will be boosted by 25% for 5 years. Annual amounts will vary by marital status and the number of children in the household, ranging from a few $100s to more than $1,000 per family. We now know how the province's nurses will exercise their legal position to strike. The BC Nurses Union will use targeted action, beginning with a ban for non-nursing duties and non-essential overtime. The union says the province has failed to meaningfully respond to nurses' concerns to improve its bargaining mandate. It says the first phase of the broader escalation plan that could be expanded in the coming days if the government does not return to the bargaining table with an offer that the nurses can actually accept. Victoria Mayor Marin Alto says she's pleased that Council has endorsed a new approach to the cost of business patio licenses. The increase will now be tied to the cost of living index. Alto says the patios bring something special to the city.
Patios, particularly in a city like Victoria, which has year-round weather most of the time, really do change the way we interact with one another. And certainly they're an enormous boon, I think, to businesses that can provide some type of a service that can be activated outside, obviously mostly restaurants and bars. But in this case, it really changes the ambiance, I think, of a streetscape. And I like that. And I think it's really positive. And I'm really glad that staff found a way to bring that forward and that Council endorsed it.
The changes will be incorporated into the current patio bylaw. Overdue in New York City. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce may actually already be married. That's the rumors and has been for a few days. Some reports say the couple actually said their vows in a small private ceremony before the big party planned for thousands of guests, actually 1,100 expected tonight at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Here's Andrea Frigia.
It's a star-studded guest list, many who've already been spotted in the area, including Ed Sheeran, Sabrina Carpenter, and one of Taylor Swift's besties, Selena Gomez, getting ready. Stevie Nicks will reportedly be among the performers at the wedding.
Apparently the team's going to be there too. A couple of teams. Some of the Knicks have been invited as well. There was a rehearsal dinner last night of sorts. 100 people at that. That's your news to 6:05. Here's CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you have faith in the Memorandum of Understanding that BC would be compensated for any environmental risks if Ottawa closes the oil pipeline? You can vote at CFAX1070.com or also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time, 6:06.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning. We're getting up into a day that's still a potential drizzle out there. It sort of feels a little cooler and damper. But as we get into the day, it's going to start clearing up a little bit, and we'll get you the full forecast in just a moment. But first, we should get to the sports, and first, we should get to the World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. An all-time classic in the final game at Toronto Stadium as Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal beat Croatia 2-1.
And here he is now with the hopes of a nation once more resting on his shoulders. Ronaldo. 1-1 in Toronto.
Cristiano Ronaldo scored an equalizer on a 68th-minute penalty kick, and then teammate Gonzalo Ramos scored the winner on a header in stoppage time to send Portugal to a round of 16 matchup against their arch-rival neighbors from Spain, which dominated Austria, winning 3-0. In the late game, Switzerland advanced with a 2-0 win over Algeria. Today, 3 final round of 32 games include Argentina against Cabo Verde, Australia versus Egypt, and Colombia takes on Ghana. Tomorrow, the round of 16 kicks off in Houston, where Canada will take on 6th ranked in the world Morocco, which is unbeaten in its last 33 matches. The latest, biggest game ever for our national men's team. That one begins at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
Well, there you go. And I will tell you that CFAX 1070 will be broadcasting the game on radio again tomorrow, 10 o'clock, right here. If you need it on the radio, we got you covered. Canada versus Morocco. Real quick, just some other sports going on that are not the World Cup. Victoria Harbour Cats, they had a bit of a rain delay yesterday, which makes sense. It was quite a bit of rain last night, but they eventually got onto the field and eventually got a 2-1 win over the Nanaimo Night Owls to close out their series. So the Harbour Cats win the series 2-1 as well. Harbour Cats now hit the road to Kelowna for a weekend series against the Falcons. And for the Victoria Shamrocks, they're in action tonight at home at the Q Centre. They're hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. And the Shamrocks, heading into this game, continue to top the WLA standings with 9 wins, 2 losses on the season. That's your sports to 6:09. Let's take a look at the CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Bay Street Bridge overnight closure still in effect for the rest of this hour. At least that's the schedule. If it opens up early, you can text me at 71010 if you happen to go by and see if it opens up a little early. But right now, yeah, full closure of the Bay Street Bridge until 7 this morning as they do some more overnight work. No more for the moment. This was the last night of it for this week. As we head into the weekend, it is going to be smooth sailing all night long on the Bay Street Bridge. For the BC ferries, no sailing waits right now. 7 o'clock sailing has lots of room left from Swartz Bay to Sawasan. And for the weather forecast, let's dive in here. Mainly cloudy for this morning with still a small chance of drizzle. It still feels damp out there when you get out. We could even see a bit of fog here and there, depending on where you are for these morning hours. The wind will eventually start picking up a little bit into the afternoon, and the clouds will kind of part a little bit as we get later into the day, maybe even into the night. We'll have to see exactly how it goes. And the temperatures are a bit warmer than yesterday, not a huge amount, but highs up to 19 degrees today. And temperatures a little cooler where the wind blows by the Wandafuka Strait. So yeah, those clearing skies eventually sometime later today into tonight, maybe lows down to 12. And then tomorrow we start to clear. Mainly sunny skies for our Saturday, highs of 20. Sunshine for Sunday, highs of 23. And as I peer further ahead into next week in the long-range forecast, it does look like it stays, mostly sunny with temperatures into the low 20s into that next week. So it looks like rain is behind us for now. Temperatures right now, let's take a look at Brentwood Bay, where it is 13 degrees, and in downtown Victoria, we have 13 degrees. On the markets, North American stock markets will open a little later this hour, so let's take a look at how things closed off yesterday with Rob Westgate.
Bay Street was lifted higher yesterday on the strength of technology and basic materials stocks. Toronto's S&P TSX gaining 110 points to close at 34,967. In New York, the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 595 points, while the Nasdaq actually fell 207. Asian markets were in the positive this morning, with Japan's Nikkei finishing up 1,011 points, while the Hang Seng in Hong Kong at close was up 295 points. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith announced Thursday that her government has a route and builders for a new pipeline to BC's coast, just hours after Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a deal with BC to make it possible. Canadians continue to hop on board airplanes this summer, even as ticket prices remain well above last year's levels, despite a recent drop in fuel costs. And a new report says 3 big U.S. tech companies control the vast majority of Canada's publicly available cloud infrastructure. As for the loonie, it's trading this morning at 70.54 cents U.S. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Rob Westgate.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Good morning. Welcome to the day. Welcome to Friday. Yes, we are at Friday. I'm still struggling to figure out what day it is this week, just because of the Wednesday Canada Day break. But here we are.
We're all feeling it.
It is TGIF. That's what's happening. For sure. That's what's going on. Good morning, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm good. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Which is strange because it feels like some other day other than Friday.
It does. I'll take it. Heading into the weekend, the weather started to clear. Although this rain, I didn't mind it at all.
No.
I kept thinking all day yesterday just about the fact that it's easing my fire anxiety a little bit when it comes to wildfires. Just knowing that all of Vancouver Island just got a good, just a good soaking. The grass is already brown. The grass doesn't get watered secretly overnight. It's just thought about turning. You can just see a little bit of green coming in. So that's smattering, actually, which was pretty good. It did help quite a bit to just give the ground a good soaking. We have 17 wildfires burning in BC right now. Which seems low compared to a lot of seasons.
Difference than what we've had. And think of the smoky skies that we've had, which usually sometimes comes in later, and sometimes it comes across the border from the U.S. We're not blaming them. You can't help smoke. But it's just so different from previous years. And every year you find yourself sort of bracing yourself thinking, well, what's going to happen? Because we've had highways closed. We've had people's lives upended. It's been big on the island, and more so even in the mainland when you look at places like Kelowna.
Although, speaking of fires and smoke,
yes.
So I did go outside at some point yesterday evening, and I took a sniff of the air, as you do. And there was
His neighbors are like, okay, there's Ryan sniffing.
there's
the
just
air.
Ryan walking around sniffing the air. There was like chimney smoke in the
nice.
air. It smelled lovely, but I was also like, oh my God, did we really get that cold?
Yeah, we did.
That somebody had to go and light their fire in their fireplace.
What was that kind of weather?
Yeah,
it was
kinda
kind of
was.
sit with the TV on, whatever you're watching, because there's no game yet. We're gearing up for that, and start a fire. Why not? Like in the right place. It smells good. It smells very fall. I'm glad it's not yet. we're just into July, but.
Yeah.
What did you call it? A Julyuary?
Oh yeah, that was. I attempted to see if I could make Julyuary work yesterday.
I liked it. It's a thing.
Okay, but that's where we are at today. It's kind of going to stay with the drizzle this morning, maybe. I think it's starting to ease off as far as precipitation, but we could still see some of that this morning. It's going to stay mostly overcast today, but as of tomorrow, it starts to clear up, and we'll get into the sunshine again, and our long-range forecast looks dry and sunny, and it gets back to some summer, although I have to feel a little bad. As much as I've liked the rain, I understand that this was a week that a lot of people took off. That first week of summer, you had a stat holiday in it. There's probably a lot of camping happening this week. It probably got a little wet.
But camping is like yesterday aside. Camping in cooler weather is actually nice.
Camping, yeah.
You can wear your Canadian fleece. You can wear your plaid. You can have a fire, which is allowed. Campfires are allowed. Where normally we don't allow them this time of year. So all this is good as long as it's not pouring rain on you. So that's clearing up, right, for the weekend?
Yes.
Good. That's all we need to hear, that one word. We're holding you to it.
Texter at 71010 says, good sunny morning. It's 11 degrees in Mill Bay this morning. I would appreciate more overcast weather. Yeah, so there's another person, kind of like me, kind of just happy to see this. Another texter saying, we actually turned our furnace on just to take the damp chill out of the house.
Yep.
Yeah, when that happens in July, you know that the weather's turned a little bit when you got the furnace on in July. I refused. Just on principle. Just on principle.
Your kids are like, Dad, I'm cold.
I'm like, no, wear a sweater. But it's July.
Close the fridge door, too.
It's 6:17. What we got going on in the news?
Let's talk about travel, since so many of us are taking to road trips or to the air. The numbers show sky-high airfare prices aren't keeping Canadians from their travel plans this summer. Major North American airlines say demand heading into the peak travel season remained resilient, despite the data from travel search platform Kayak that shows domestic airfare in the month of June was up 11% from last year. International airfare, interestingly enough, remains comparable to last year. So there's a deal if you're looking to go further afield. A recent survey by one company shows 42% of Canadians are cutting back on spending in other areas just so they can stick to their travel plans. Yeah, you want to get out there and see the world. The annual Calgary Stampede, if you're heading there, big business. You probably know it. The MasterCard Economics Institute looked at the spending data from the 10-day salute to cowboy culture last year, estimated that local businesses saw a roughly 18% increase in activity compared to non-Stampede baseline. Restaurants saw the biggest bump, 29% rise in spending. Retailers saw lifts before things got started, as a lot of people look to rustle up last-minute cowboy hats, boots, and other kind of Western duds. Hudson Bay has completed its final art auction featuring 6 paintings connected to Norval Morisseau. The 3 works by Morisseau and 3 from his studio, the top selling price over $27,000. The auction also included HBC memorabilia, vintage signs, and signed Toronto Raptors items. The highest selling piece was a studio of Michael Dahl portrait of John Churchill. That sold for $50,000. Big money. That's your news to 6:19.
Traffic and weather coming up. If you see a problem out there on your Friday morning commute, let us know at 71010, or even just what's the weather like at your place? Are you seeing any rain still? We do have this chance of drizzle for this morning. We'll get into it in just a moment. We're checking CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show is brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home, nomad of the season, and big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, the design for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Well, there's not much happening on the roads, to tell you the truth. It's been like this all this week with pretty much a clear commute. Not a lot of folks on the commute this morning. First week of summer and all that. I'm assuming that is connected. We do have the full closure of the Bay Street Bridge for the overnight road work still in effect. It should be easing later this hour. It's scheduled to go until 7 this morning. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. For the weather, lots to talk about there because we're kind of going to still be in a more overcast, cooler kind of day today. We've got a chance of drizzle still this morning after we saw that falling overnight. We will see maybe a bit of fog out there this morning as well. As the day goes on, stays kind of cloudy. We might get a little breezy off the water. Highs of 19, so a little warmer than yesterday. 16, though, if you're by the water, by where the wind will be blowing off the Juan de Fuca Strait. For tonight, starting to clear up. Lows down to 12. Then tomorrow, the skies will clear more, so we'll get into some sunshine again. And we will see highs of 20. Sunday, sunshine highs of 23. Monday, sunshine highs of 22. And it kind of carries on like that into early and even later next week in our long-range forecast. So it does look like we're just sort of hitting a very stable stretch of summery, mild conditions. Right now, the temperature's, though, a little cooler as we get into the day. In Saanich by the University of Victoria, it's 14 degrees right now. It's also 14 in Langford.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
So I was telling my story about walking outside and smelling the chimney smoke yesterday and being like, oh, it's that cold. This texter says, happy Friday, Ryan and Lisa. Are you sure it was chimney smoke? This is the West Coast, after all.
You got a point. There's a lot of that going down, too.
I do. Yes, compared to the two, I'm aware, and the one...
You know the smell.
It was not that, but that's okay.
That's funny.
Good comment, though. Yeah. I enjoy that.
Very fitting.
All right. Well, hey, it's actually funny. Considering this is that first week of summer, we've had Canada Day and all of that stuff, it's a little funny just how much news there's been. It's been a very consequential week, I would say, for the news. And we, of course, are digesting all of this pipeline news out of yesterday. And we've got the news poll out today. If you go to CFAX1070.com, scroll down a little bit, you can vote. Do you have faith in a memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes an oil pipeline? So you can let us know what you think right there. And so far, how are people responding to that, Lisa? I'm curious. Because you also find that the Twitter versus the website poll can sometimes be different.
Yeah, Twitter can historically skew younger. A lot of people have left Twitter too. But right now on our website, it's pretty split. 55% are saying, yes, they do have faith. That's on our website. Twitter, which historically does skew a little bit younger, sort of flips. It's 54% saying, no, they don't have any faith that Ottawa would actually hold up, in this memorandum of understanding that if anything went sideways, then BC would be compensated. Of course, that's worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
I'm still stuck back on this dollar amount.
We will catalyze through these initiatives over $200 billion in new investment, while advancing our trade agenda across Asia.
$200 billion is a pretty big number.
Right? If it actually comes to fruition, because we're start building this, it's in 2027, late 2027, I think, a year from now.
Yeah,
it's happening.
And a big part of the plan that we learned yesterday, because just to recap for those who need it, so we learned first off to begin the day that the North Coast is out. The tanker ban on the north coast of BC is going to remain in place.
Right.
So that was one of the big first initial reveals, and you had the Prime Minister and David Eby standing there talking about that, which then pretty much guaranteed that, okay, I guess what we're going to hear later in the day is a southern route, and so Mark Carney goes off to Alberta, and with Premier Daniel Smith now announcing, yes, this southern route, which would mostly follow the Trans Mountain Pipeline route.
Does that not make sense?
It kind of does. Now, and one of the things I kept thinking about is one of the things they mentioned is, well, where's this going to go then? So it's going to go from Alberta, and it's going to go along the Trans Mountain, but where will it actually end? Well, it's going to end, and this is all I could think about, is at the Roberts Bank Terminal, which is the one when you go over across the ferry in Tsawwassen, and you're getting to Tsawwassen on the ferry, and you look, I guess, as you're heading towards the terminal, you look to your left, and you see that giant terminal right there. That's the one.
That's
so
it.
Right there, right by where you get off the ferry, just to the left there, where you see all the ships loading up with
so
all
the business is happening already is where it's going.
Yeah. So that's where it'll be. And I just thought that, it brings it a little closer to home. Like there's a thing, me as an islander who takes the ferry to the mainland, fairly regularly.
You can keep tabs on it.
Yeah, it's like, it's right there. And I guess, where do the ships from there go to? Well, they often go past us, as they head out towards open ocean. So
I think that's a lot of times we don't necessarily realize what's being trucked across the country, what's going in pipes across the country. We just business runs around us a lot of times. We're not that deeply entrenched in it. Most of us aren't anyway. And business happens all around us. So there's an example of, oh, now I know exactly what you're talking about and what it's going to look like. And I don't know, how does that make you feel? Does it bring you some sense of security or the other way? Or nothing, just observation?
More of an observation, just like it's sort of funny how sometimes it can be hard to personally relate to some of these news stories until it physically enters your life.
Absolutely. And you want to know how it affects you. That's number one.
And I was like, there is some geography that I am familiar with. There's some geography that I can understand. I go across the ferry and I see this big terminal. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know, kind of grounded the story. All of a sudden it became much more real to me, just personally. Not in a good or a bad way. Just all of a sudden it was, oh, okay.
You're aware because it's on your radar.
Yeah.
It's because it's within your eye line, really. Yeah, it's in your backyard.
And I know that,
it is our backyard.
I will plead ignorance here a little bit. I'm curious what building this pipeline to that terminal will mean for kind of environmental fights, because there have been some disputes because of the southern resident killer whales, which are endangered species, of course, here off of not just the coast of Vancouver Island, but all the way to there. Like, this is part of their habitat.
Yeah, and so we've got more big ships coming in.
And expansions of that very terminal, that Robert Spank terminal, have occasionally faced challenges because of the Species at Risk Act. So I'm kind of curious how that part of the story plays out. I'm reluctant to bring it up because I'd love to look into it more and see if that's even a thing here. But that's a story, I think, from the BC perspective, and certainly the Victoria perspective, we'll probably start to see impact on the southern resident killer whales. What's next? Effect there?
I think that's the fallout from all of it. That's a reaction that's going to be rolling in. What happens next? This is the plan. Okay, everybody weigh in, and so we'll be getting this coming in, and we will hear from people who are concerned about the environment if we're not already hearing from them. Everyone's going to weigh in on this, which we should. This is going to, again, be a major change for BC.
Yeah.
Will it be a positive one? I got my fingers crossed right now, because if it's good for business and we can, maintain the environment we have, great. But I do believe in basically, and it was batted around for the twinning of the Trans Mountain. Yeah, why build it completely somewhere else?
Yeah. Texter 71010 says, it's awesome. New pipeline to the west. So much to say, but I'm happy we can get our product to market avoiding the U.S. So there's a take. Because that's part of what this is all about, diversifying where we can sell the stuff if the U.S. causes, certain trade issues, as they have been.
Yes.
Let us know at 71010 what you're thinking. We can keep talking about it, but right now we got to take a break because the 6:30 news is next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. Welcome to Friday, July 3rd. We still have a chance of drizzle over us, and it's going to be a bit overcast today. Highs of 19, which is a little warmer than yesterday. We'll get you the full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
Lots of chatter about that new West Coast pipeline, rightfully so. Alberta has been promoting it's going to have a familiar route now and a familiar operator. Some changes as the province submitting its application to the Federal Major Projects Office for that 1 million barrel a day pipeline. Instead of choosing the northern route, as Premier Danielle Smith in Alberta had earlier said she preferred, the pipeline will largely follow the path of the existing Trans Mountain pipeline to southern BC. The Crown Corporation that runs Trans Mountain is to take the lead on building the new one as well. Trans Mountain CEO Mark Mackey says the private sector has a rough history of trying to build new pipelines in this country.
This is really why and public-private partnership really works, is it'll help clear, I think, people's uncertainties about what's it like to build in Canada now.
The submission package says the estimated price tag could run north of $43 billion. The design and construction starting in 2027. A controversial motion about the future of the safe harbor consumption site on Pandora was defeated in a 7-1 vote. It called for the city to ask Island Health to eventually cease operations at that location. The motion was introduced by Councillor Mar Gardner.
Let me be clear. What we are seeing on Pandora and beyond is not an outcome of compassion. Compassion is not placing vulnerable people in situations where they become victims of illicit drug dealers and criminals. True compassion is to do what we can do to break the cycle of misery and dependence of those caught in the grip of drug addiction. The harbor has become a magnet for those addicted to drugs and for drug dealers and criminals who prey on the weak and defenseless.
Mayor Marinalto says Victoria is carrying the way to the region when it comes to services like those available at the harbour. BC Highway Patrol releasing some dramatic footage to reminding riders and drivers that passing on the right is dangerous and illegal. A Chilliwack resident has a wrecked motorcycle and a lighter wallet after he attempted to pass on the right on a busy highway last month. Happened on the morning of June 18th on Highway 1 westbound in Vancouver. Patrol officer was in heavy traffic. He spotted the rider on a black Harley-Davidson traveling in the right shoulder. When the police officer hit his lights and siren, a blue pickup truck pulled over to the right, as required by law. However, at the same time, the rider was attempting to pass that pickup on the right. He ended up being pushed into a cement barrier. The video shows a patrol officer immediately putting the rider in handcuffs. In BC, passing on the right illegally carries a $109 fine and 2 penalty points. That's assuming you don't also cause a collision. Another cruise ship has a norovirus outbreak.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 102 passengers and 23 crew members on a Princess Cruises ship became infected with norovirus, which is highly contagious with symptoms of vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. The Ruby Princess docked Thursday in San Francisco, following a 20-day trip from San Francisco to Canada and Alaska. Princess Cruises says the Ruby Princess was scheduled to begin its next trip later Thursday, but that the ship would be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected before departing. Officials say there have been several reported outbreaks on cruise ships in the CDC's jurisdiction this year, most from norovirus. I'm Donna Warder.
And a 3-time U.S. Olympian now facing a felony charge in connection with the issue of the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool in Washington, D.C. David Hearn is accused of ripping a 2-foot by 2-foot piece of the sealant that was applied to the bottom of the pool. The charge of destruction of property carries a sentence of up to 10 years in jail. U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, says Hearn also yelled at a National Parks Service employee. Pearl clutching. Hearn has denied all the charges and told ABC News he touched a piece of the coating that was already partially detached.
President Trump has repeatedly claimed that vandals caused the damage, but has provided no evidence to back up any of those claims. Now, the reflecting pool has been plagued with issues for decades. President Trump spent about $16 million in taxpayer money for these renovations. And as we saw within weeks, that algae started booming again and that peeling paint floating to the top of the surface.
We'll find out what comes next. We'll let you know. That's your news to 6:37. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Do you have faith in the Memorandum of Understanding that BC will be compensated for the environmental risks if Ottawa imposes an oil pipeline across the province? 55% say yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:38.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to a kind of a cool day, overcast day, kind of like yesterday, just less rain. It's going to be a chance of drizzle this morning. We shouldn't see as much precipitation as we did yesterday, just a little bit, if anything. But staying kind of cloudy through the day, clearing up by tonight. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, over to the sports. Lots to talk about. So on the local scene, let's start with baseball. The Victoria Harbour Cats dealt with a rain delay yesterday, eventually got onto the field, and eventually got a 2-1 win over the Nanaimo Night Owls. Harbour Cats will now hit the road with a 3-game weekend series in Kelowna against the Falcons. We also, in baseball, had Bryce Miller taking a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and the Seattle Mariners edged the Los Angeles Angels 1-0 to finish a 3-game sweep. Seattle stayed tied with the Texas Rangers for the first place in the American League West at 45-43. And the Toronto Blue Jays arrive tonight to take on the Mariners in Seattle for a 3-game set over the weekend. Okay, so that's baseball. Over to lacrosse. Victoria's Shamrocks in action at the Q Center. They're hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. Shamrocks continuing to top the WLA standings with 9 wins, 2 losses heading into this. In the world of the World Cup, Switzerland has advanced to the round of 16 with a 2-0 win over Algeria in a game that took place in BC Place Stadium right here in British Columbia. The Swiss will next face the winner of Friday's round of 32 matches between Colombia and Ghana, and that game will be July 7th, also in Vancouver. We saw the big Portugal match yesterday in Toronto. It was Toronto's final World Cup match as hosts, so they're ducking out now. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal did pull out a 2-1 comeback win over Croatia last night. Ronaldo evening the score at 1-1 with a penalty kick in the 68th minute before they eventually got on for the win. Croatia had a goal overturned on review minutes later due to an offside call too, so that was a bit of controversy. In Vancouver, Switzerland blanked Algeria 2-0, as I mentioned, to also make it to the round of 16. So those two teams move on, and that's your sports to 6:40. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home, nomad of the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, the design for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. So there's no crashes on the roads, no major congestion to speak of right now. Bay Street Bridge remains closed for overnight road work. It's just a closure in both directions, scheduled until 7, so that's coming off pretty soon. And BC Ferry's looking fine. 7 o'clock sailing is leaving shortly, and it's got lots of room left for vehicles. The weather forecast, lots to talk about in the weather. Mainly cloudy for today. There's small chance of drizzle still over us this morning. When I came into work, it wasn't raining, but it definitely had that damp feeling. Just, everything's damp from the rain. The air kind of has that damp feeling. So
you were sniffing the air.
Yeah, exactly. I was.
As we do.
As you do.
Because you got to live.
So it's still, it kind of feels moist, but it's not raining per se.
It's a moist morning.
Yeah, that's what we're faced with right now. And it's going to kind of stay that way today. Not necessarily raining, just sort of staying overcast and a bit cooler. Highs at 19. 19, though, so it's warmer than yesterday. And then after we get through today, getting into the evening, the skies start to clear. We've got sunshine on the weekend. Saturday and Sunday both looking sunny with temperatures up into around about the 20-degree mark. In fact, Sunday could be a bit warmer than that with a high predicted at 23. And then for next week in our long-range forecast, mostly sunny with temperatures in the low 20s. So we're kind of through this little cool patch here. And I got a text message 71010 who does say, I prefer slightly cooler weather. I'm more productive in it. I love summer rain. Our heat usually goes off in May, and then we stay there. This is like home heating, and it stays off until autumn. Yeah, I'm the same way. I refused to put my heat on yesterday, even though it was cold.
Kids are blue.
No, kids. Maybe wear a sweater. That's the
tough household.
That's the situation.
Wear a sweater. Put a sweater on. I can still hear my father saying that.
Yeah, I'm triggering memories. Okay, right. Hey.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Have you got your raffle ticket yet? Because the Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50 is live. We launched this week. It's going to be going until the end of August. It's a 50/50 on a radio station scale. You can buy a 50/50 ticket or buy a bunch because single tickets are $10. A 5-pack is $25, and a 20-pack is $50. So you kind of save a bit the more you buy.
Makes
and
sense.
The first week we just launched this thing. The jackpot is at this moment at $1,620. Or I shouldn't say the jackpot. That's the total. The winner takes half of that.
That is jackpot, though, isn't it?
I guess maybe that's right.
Yeah,
That is the jackpot.
You split it with a good charity.
That's true. And that charity, of course, is CFAX Santa's Anonymous and the Kids Count program, which is how CFAX Santa's Anonymous helps kids beyond Christmas.
What's the total again?
$1,620 as of this very moment, because that's the up to the second update.
And we were like 600 yesterday.
I know. Yeah. So it's going up fast.
This is very good.
So if you want to know where to go to do this, you can simply go to either the CFAX1070.com website or the CFAXSantas.com website. And there's just a big old button right there you can click on. You'll see Kids Count Mega Kids Count Mega Summer 50/50. That's the name of it in the big button. Click on that and you can buy the tickets online.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
And with this, the charity wins, you win, everybody's happy.
Everybody wins.
And everybody buys 50/50. We love 50/50.
Who doesn't like a 50/50?
It's our thing here in Greater Victoria. So something great for CFAX Santa's Anonymous, something new that we're doing, and so far so good.
At 6:45, let's get the headlines in with Lisa.
Since we're talking found cash, well, in a fashion, because you probably paid it forward, but check your bank account. There may be a few more dollars in there than when you went to bed last night. The Carney government has begun issuing that quarterly affordability benefit, which replaces the previous GST-HST credit. Like last month's one-time bonus payment to eligible Canadians, the reoccurring remittance will vary in size depending on your marital status and the number of kids under your roof. It could run from a few $100s to more than $1,000 per family, so check your bank account. We now know how the nurses in this province will exercise their legal strike position. The BC Nurses Union will use targeted action, beginning with a ban on non-nursing duties and non-essential overtime. The union says the province has failed to meaningfully respond to nurses' concerns or improve its bargaining mandate. It says it's the first phase of a broader escalation plan that could expand in the coming days if the government does not return to the bargaining table with an offer that the nurses can actually accept. And all talk about the pipeline. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith pitching that new bitumen pipeline to the BC coast that will closely follow the route already used by the Trans Mountain Pipeline, so basically twinning it, which makes sense. Smith's announcement came just hours after the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, met and announced a deal with BC Premier David Eby to make this all possible. Carney says the route makes the most sense given the line already exists and serves as gateway to the world's fastest growing markets, namely Asia is what we're looking at. Carney's agreement with BC includes a promise to uphold a tanker ban on BC's northern coast, while Premier David Eby pledged his province would not fight a pipeline proposal in court. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but we're talking $43 billion to build this pipeline, which will begin in 2027, late 2027. That's your news to 647.
Well, here we are. It's summer in Victoria, and that usually means just activities all the time. We have so many great things that take place. Of course, we just had all of our Canada Day festivities over the last few days.
It's nice to be able to have to get the platinum crowbar out to fit fit everything into your social life on the weekend, right?
Yeah, you really got to jam it all in because there's stuff happening all the time. And now, look how busy this weekend is that we're just about to launch into. Not only do you have the World Cup soccer match, Canada versus Morocco, 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
Lots of different events for this, like the Market Square one, and they got all these things. So maybe you're checking that out. But then the kind of revived Victoria Folk Music Festival takes place this weekend, the Saturday, tomorrow.
Yes.
And this, I think last year was the inaugural version of this, because we used to have a Victoria Folk Festival for years, and then it went away. So last year it was brought back, and it was successful, so much so that they are bringing it back this year.
I like the one day.
And expanding it. It's one day, but it's at a bigger place. It's at Royal Athletic Park. So they're going to be doing it there. So that's one of the events taking place this weekend.
Chantal Crevezek.
She's one of the headliners.
Barney Bentel's coming in.
Yeah.
He likes performing for us. The Sadies, Deep Dark Woods, Daniel Wesley, Sherry Ulrich, and Valdi will be there too.
Personal pick out of that, the Sadies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sadies are incredible. They had a bit of a tragedy a few years ago where one of the main guys, those brothers, two brothers were kind of the front men of this band. One of them died, but the other brother is carrying on, and it's some of the best, just kind of pure rock and roll out of Canada, and they have been for years. And if you're going to see one of those acts, that's my personal pick for you. But I mean, Chantal Crevezek would be amazing too.
And Barney.
Yeah, all of it. But the other thing that's going on too, one of the many things that's going on too, I shouldn't sell it short.
You got strawberries as well.
Is the Island Fest.
Oh, yes.
At Ships Point. So that'll be in Victoria. We actually talked to them. We talked to them a couple months ago when they had that weird thing where they were somebody was scamming.
Oh, that's right.
They were putting up these Facebook ads that made it look like they were this festival. So vendors would click on and pay the entry fee to get into the festival through a fake post, which was wild. And anyways, the organizers talked to us a couple months ago. But now we'll put all that bad stuff aside. Let's talk to the folks at Island Fest about what's going on at Ships Point this weekend. That's next.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070.
CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. First of the season, wild Pacific sockeye salmon has arrived. Fresh from the ocean, never frozen, and delivered daily. Eat happy at Thrifty Foods. On the roads, we're still looking pretty good. We'll expect that Bay Street Bridge overnight closure to come off any moment now, and then we'll have traffic flowing again there. Congestion is light. It's still that vacation week for a lot of folks. Hardly anybody commuting, and we're seeing that play out again this morning. It's looking very clear. No crashes or other problems like that. No sailing rates at BC Ferries, and the weather, it's still still a little on the overcast side today, a little bit of a cooler day. Highs will hit 19 degrees, so we're seeing the actual temperature get up higher than we did yesterday. We're going to see less rain. We've only got the small chance of drizzle this morning, but overcast skies and feeling a little cooler, maybe a little breezy by the Wanda-Fuca Strait. That's kind of what you can expect out of today, but it clears up tonight, and then the weekend is looking sunny. Saturday, Sunday, it's sunny with temperatures into the 20s, low 20s, but into the 20s, and it's the same for next week. Right now, for the temperatures, as we start to warm up into the day, at Brentwood Bay, let's check there. It's 14 degrees right now, and in Oak Bay, it's 13.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Island Fest is underway at Ships Point, and as we head into the weekend, the event promises to celebrate Caribbean culture, food, and tunes at the Free Entry Festival. It's one of the family-friendly events happening in the community right now. Lots of stuff going on, but let's talk about this one. And Vancouver Island Caribbean Hub co-founder Kara Randall, is joining us on the phone right now. Hello, how are you?
Hi, morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Great to talk to you. Well, congratulations on getting this thing going. It's already going, is my understanding, right? You're already rocking down there?
Yes, today is day 3 of 5. Day 3 of 5 of the festival, and it's today is the first day taking place at Ship Point. So the free portion of the festival takes place today.
So today it really kind of ratchets up. It's growing today.
Yes. And people can just expect a lot more than the past 2 days because we have food vendors coming. We have performances later on in the day. We have a huge kids zone, so we're encouraging families to come out and have fun. And the great thing, and there's also a beer garden for adults that want to enjoy as well. And we have over 45 vendors this year, so there's a huge marketplace. And we're just encouraging people to come out, support local vendors, support Caribbean culture, come and celebrate Caribbean arts and culture with us. Yeah.
Kara, if I'm coming down for a fish cutter and a rum punch, will I be happy, or what do you got to offer us for food?
Oh my gosh, we're going to have roti, we're going to have jerk chicken, we're going to have doubles, we're going to have Bayesian food. I don't know, maybe you never heard of it, saltfish fritters.
For sure.
We are going to have some Caribbean rum, absolutely. We're going to have some delicious Appleton and possibly some rum punch too. But yeah, you just got to come out. A lot of great performances, and these are performers that are coming outside of Victoria. So some from Vancouver, some from Edmonton. We have a few from Toronto, and we have an international artist from Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow!
So it's definitely going to be a treat. Yes.
Some nice linemen happening. What kind of acts? Name some names for us.
Yes, so we have Lil Bits. She's a soca calypso artist from Trinidad and Tobago that's coming out here to perform. We also have Doggy Slaughter, who is a legendary, well-known soca artist, but among other things, a DJ, and he's also originally from Trinidad and Tobago. We have some local Torontonian artists with Caribbean background that are going to come and perform at our after party on Saturday, as well as steel pan artists. So we have a lot of steel pan bands that are coming from the mainland, as well as the soloists coming from Toronto. And then we, of course, have Limbo, which is as traditional to the Caribbean as well, and so much more. People need to just come out and enjoy. This is free to enjoy, which is great, but it's also a great way to learn a little bit about the culture and a little bit about, what the music that originated from the Caribbean.
What do you want people to understand about that, the origin of it?
Well, I think especially being in the West Coast, a lot of people have not experienced or know a lot about the Caribbean culture. I mean, they probably associate it with maybe just Bob Marley or reggae music, but there's so much more, and the Caribbean is very diverse. It's something that people might not know. You have all sorts of people from the Caribbean, so with a Syrian background or a Chinese background or Indian background. And so when people look at a Caribbean person, it's there's just so much. It's so multifaceted. And so now I feel like now that we're able to bring it here to Victoria, which is something new, people are starting to understand and see that. But we also have a cultural exhibit and a cultural booth where people can just sort of learn more, a little bit about our history, a little bit about the different countries within the Caribbean, and also the different cultures as well, because there's so many Caribbean countries, and a all of them are not necessarily have the same traditions. And so I think it's a great way for people to just come out and learn and really just enjoy, because there's so much greatness that has come out of the Caribbean. There's so much great talent that's come out of the Caribbean. And so I think it's just a great way to just learn a little bit and just really appreciate, especially what Caribbeans have contributed within Canada as well.
Well, we're talking to Kara Randall with the Island Fest, which is, as you said, it's been underway for a couple of days, but today it really gets going at Ships Point, where you'll find it this weekend, and all of those things we just heard about, including the parade. There's a parade tomorrow, right?
There's a parade at 11:30, starting at 11:30, and we kick off at Centennial Square, so people can come out and come and party with us, because essentially we start off with a little party right at Centennial Square, and then we make our way onto Government Street slowly, and we lead all the way into Ship Points, where our festival will take place. So you'll see beautiful, colorful costumes, and what's amazing this year is we have local costume designers, mass designers that have created some beautiful carnival costumes, and so people can come out and experience and take a look, and also just have fun and celebrate with us. We're encouraging everybody to come and dance and party, and that's what this is all about.
Amazing. Well, have a great time. Good luck with the festival. I hope lots of people come out and see it.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We'll take a break. We got the 7 o'clock news next on CFAX.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 7:01 on Friday, July 3rd. The weekend is here, or maybe you're already off because it's that kind of week. Either way, it's another kind of cloudy day today, but a little less rainy. Still a chance of drizzle this morning, but the precipitation is starting to get behind us. A full forecast to come. We'll get to the full weather forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins. Here's Lisa.
Looks like another line being built across our province. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has pitched a new bitumen pipeline to the BC coast just hours yesterday after the Prime Minister announced a deal with BC to make this all possible.
Smith and Carney stood together in Calgary to announce that Alberta has formally submitted a proposed route to Carney's Major Projects Office. The line would follow closely along a route already traversed by the Trans Mountain Pipeline. The pipeline would run from northeast of Edmonton to the southern BC coast, delivering more than 1 million barrels per day to tankers and then on to Asian markets. Bill Graveland, The Canadian Press, Calgary.
The leaders of Canada and the Philippines have signed an agreement on energy, natural resources, labor, and tourism as the countries reinforce their shared priorities and hopes for a trade deal. Prime Minister Mark Carney said he's very grateful to the President of Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., that he accepted his invitation to visit.
More than 1 million
Canadians of Filipino heritage. Very close and deepening defense, security, economic ties between our nations.
An expert on Asia said the Philippines president's visit shows Canada's four-year-old Indo-Pacific strategy is beginning to bear fruit. Victoria Council moving to tie the cost of business patio licenses to the cost of living index. Mayor Rinaldo explained the approach.
What was an option was for us to increase the prices. What we opted for was to look at 2027 and keep them at 2026 prices, so it's the same, but in the future to allow them to increase by the CPI. So, in a way, it provides some consistency and continuity and dependability for folks who are considering patios or have them. And that means that they're not waiting for us to make a decision every year about is it going to go up, is it going to go down, is it going to change.
There's some security there. The change will be incorporated into the current patio bylaw. Councillor Mara Gardner's proposal about the safe harbour consumption site on Pandora fell on deaf ears. Council voting 7-1 against the motion, calling for the city to ask Island Health to cease operations. Gardner was passionate that action was needed in the debate.
The motion before Council is the most consequential of any that I have put forward during my term as a city councillor. How we respond this morning will shape the future of our city more than any issue we've dealt with in the past 4 years. This motion is not just about how we deal with the exploitation of our most vulnerable citizens, or about disorder and crime on the streets, or about catastrophic plans offered to the public as response to problems. It's about how we define ourselves as citizens and what kind of city we want to live in.
Mayor Marinaldo says progress is being made, but not at the pace that she would like to see at this point. A shocking crime in Fort Lauderdale, North Lauderdale, Florida. Police investigating the death of a man in a Walmart parking lot. They fought over a parking spot.
Authorities say the altercation started about 5 minutes earlier, with the two drivers fighting over a parking spot. DeGuglielmo then parked his car, partially blocking the spot, and walked into the store. Witnesses say the woman then managed to slip into the spot anyway. The woman is then seen getting out of her car, phone in one hand, gun in the other, yelling at DeGuglielmo, who appears to be yelling back.
And on a happier note, tonight is the night, well, it's actually 2:30 this afternoon for us. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce tying the knot in the Big Apple, Madison Square Garden in front of 1,100 guests. But there's reports that they've already said I do in a small private ceremony. Kind of makes sense. Before this big party, the couple have donated $26 million to a total of 20 charities across the U.S. One of them is called the After School All-Stars, which has programs in several cities. Ben Paul is the CEO of that charity.
This is a transformative gift, and it will set the After School All-Stars in New York and in Cleveland in such a way that we'll be able to both be around for much longer and serve more students.
Power couple doing powerful things. Looking forward to that wedding. Did not get an invite, and I don't think Ryan did either. Oh, well, we move on. That's your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you have faith in that memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes an oil pipeline? Well, here we are. That's come to fruition. And 55% say, yes, they do have faith it will happen. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:07.
Why, thank you, Lisa, and good morning. Welcome to Friday. It is just overcast, a little cooler today, although I should say warmer than yesterday. 19 will be the high temperature we eventually get to, but it's going to stay cloudy. 13 degrees is what we're seeing right now. Let's talk sports. We'll start with the World Cup of Soccer. We saw the final FIFA World Cup game to be played in Toronto take place last night, and it was a good one. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal pulling off a 2-1 comeback win over Croatia last night. Ronaldo himself getting a goal. I think he made history. He became the oldest player to ever score a World Cup goal.
How old is he?
He's 41, I believe I saw is the number. Which, I mean,
in soccer terms,
sports always frustrates me when you hear about this guy's geriatric and he still can do things
25.
and he's 41 years old. That's kind of how
I know it's
I'm
humbling, isn't it? Because I could not run around that pitch the way they do.
Yeah.
No, I'd heard something.
Well, anyways, Ronaldo, the geriatric, too old for
How much is he
life
worth?
kind of guy. Yeah,
I
really.
think that's a nice bomb, that money coming in.
He evened the score at 1-1 with a penalty kick in the 68th minute, and then they got the winner in stoppage time. Croatia did also have a goal that was overturned after they sat around doing that sort of VAR review for a while, and the Croatian fans went
hydration break,
ragey, and it was and hydration breaks happened. Yeah,
lots of emotion.
All the things, lots
soccer.
of emotion yesterday. I'm sort of dwelling on this, but no, it was a big match. It was Toronto's final one, so Portugal moves on with that 2-1 comeback win yesterday. We also saw BC Place Stadium hosting one of its final games. They've still got another one, but Switzerland advanced to the round of 16 with a 2-0 win over Algeria at BC Place. So the Swiss will continue on being the BC Place Stadium team. So they'll face the winner of one of the round of 32 matches, the one between Colombia and Ghana, which will take place in Vancouver on July the 7th. That's just a quick look ahead at some of the World Cup stuff that's going on. Let's take a look at the local sports. Victoria Harbour Cats with a bit of a rain delay yesterday, but eventually they got a 2-1 win over the Nanaimo Night Owls. Harbour Cats now hitting the road for a 3-game series against the Falcons in Kelowna. We also saw the Victoria, or I should say we will see, that's what I mean to say, the Victoria Shamrocks in lacrosse in action tonight at home at the Q Centre. They are hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. The Shamrocks continue to top the WLA standings heading into this game with 9 wins and 2 losses. And that is your sports to 7:09. $7:10, that's the time in Victoria, and the commute is looking good as we do our traffic and weather. The commute, there's no volume out there. Again, it continues to be very light as far as traffic volume. No crashes at this time. And that closure of the Bay Street Bridge is over now. The overnight road work is done, and they will be letting you drive both directions on the Bay Street Bridge all this weekend. No more overnight road work. We'll tell you about the next scheduled one, but right now we're through all that. For the weather forecast, there's lots to talk about there. So it's going to stay kind of cloudy today. We've got the small chance of drizzle still with us this morning. We've seen a little bit overnight, but mostly we're drying up, still just staying a little potentially damp through the day. And we will see highs of 19, a bit warmer than yesterday, but with the overcast skies, just a slightly cooler day. Clearing up tonight, lows to 12, and then sunshine through the weekend. Mainly sunny for Saturday, temperatures up to 20. Sunshine for Sunday, highs up to 23, and then we stay there for the rest of the week as we look into our long-range forecast next week. Mostly sunny, a few clouds here and there, and temperatures into the low 20s is where we're headed. Just got to get through today. Still feeling a little on the damp side today. It's 14 degrees in Langford. In Saanich by the University of Victoria, it is also 14 degrees. Let's get the First results as we check North American stock markets. S&P TSX beginning the day up 269 to 35,235. The Dow in New York is up 594 to 52,900. NASDAQ has dropped 207 to 25,832. And the Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents US, which is down just a little tiny bit from the close yesterday.
What are the limits of human knowledge?
Welcome to the Nerd Lab.
Yes, science!
CFAX science stuff.
Science!
Blinded me with science!
I don't know what that means.
With Ryan and Lisa.
Yeah, we're getting into the Nerd Lab.
Yeah.
We sure are.
Gotta ask you.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever sworn somewhere, cursed, where you shouldn't have, in front of the wrong person?
Oh.
Maybe even on air. Have you ever done that?
Swear it. You know what? I have yet to swear on air.
Okay.
Which is
Don't make it sound like it's imminent.
It happens,
It does. It happened to another radio station earlier this week in town.
So,
and I'm going to throw them a Hail Mary, a mulligan, as it were.
Yeah.
Because I've not ever sworn on air, and we've been doing this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's you just realize in this business, if you're in front of a microphone, nope. But sometimes you just don't realize when you're in front of a microphone, and that's what happened earlier. And I feel bad for them because I've been there. I have never sworn on air, but I have in television in my previous career ran a clip of a comedian that was supposed to be edited out. There was an F-bomb in it that was supposed to be edited out, and it wasn't. And it went to air, and I was shocked. Everybody in my ear was screaming because we wear these little earbuds. And I just apologized immediately to people saying sorry. And it is frustrating and it is shocking to hear it. And that's what happened earlier this week. So into the science of why we do this, why we vent, right?
Well, because apparently, according to science, there's a good reason to swear sometimes, right?
That's right. And so you ever stub your toe and swear?
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever sworn in the car when you're in gridlock?
Of course.
Right. So there's actually a term called lalachisia.
Lalachisia?
I know, it sounds like a festival, right? It's emotional relief obtained by spewing vulgar language. You can exercise it as freely as you like. If you hurt yourself and you swear, it's actually your lizard brain in motion. It springs into action. That string of profanities, or even just that one word, sugar, is your brain section, the amygdala, releasing adrenaline. That gives a soothing effect.
So saying a swear word helps release adrenaline?
That's why it comes out before you're like, oh, geez, I didn't mean to say that. Or venting, the curse words have a bomb attached to them if they're used correctly. It's strange, but it's true. And you know that if you've ever said a word, maybe didn't even mean to say it, maybe in front of somebody, but because you hurt yourself or because you're venting or you're stuck in traffic, it actually makes you feel better. Less stress, less anxiety. That grr you feel when you're stuck in gridlock in the commute and you're cursing up a blue streak behind the wheel, does make you feel a little bit better.
Do you have to say a legit swear word, or can you get by with, fiddlesticks or something?
Well, it's whatever you determine to be the swear word.
As long as your brain interprets it as, this is a bad word and it's making me feel good.
Yeah, I don't think fiddlesticks has the same kind of punch as the F-bomb or sugar versus, but it's the word that would be shocking to you, whatever your choice is there. So the flood of hormones calms you.
So that's what, okay, yeah. So you need it to be a bad word that your brain perces as a bad word to
Usually it comes out.
Yeah, you don't even think about it. You just say whatever your favorite bad word is.
5-year-olds hurt themselves, and the mother's shocked. It's like, so it happens, right? And then in the venting, it happens. We do it in the car all the time, thankfully, with the windows up, usually. I'm not talking road rage. I'm talking just, this car, I want it to move. You know what I'm saying? Fill in the blanks. Lalachisia. I always thought we could have a one-day Lalachisia festival in the city.
Everybody just gets around and swears, gets it out of their system?
Pretty much. We would have really ripe comedians in town. We would have a blue bar, right?
A blue bar?
Yeah, blue language.
Yeah.
Blue words.
Okay.
Blue bar where you could, and it would focus on, and we would have speakers, and it would focus on the art of swearing. Now, of course, it's not for everyone, but it's kind of provocative. And I just love the word lalachisia.
That's my favorite part of this whole chat we just did is lalachisia, the emotional relief or stress reduction gained from using vulgar, profane, and abusive
Ryan's
language.
AIing on us.
It's science. I had to look how you spell it. Lalachisia.
It sounds like a festival.
Yeah, it does. Well, there you go. It's you can't argue with it. It's science.
No, it is science.
There you go. Now it's 7:17 with
Yes.
all appropriate language.
Yes.
Lisa will tell us the news headlines.
100%. Yeah, sure. New numbers show sky-high airfare prices are not keeping us on the ground. We're not clipping our wings for our summer travel plans. Major North American airlines say the demand heading into the peak travel season remains resilient, despite data from travel search platform Kayak that shows domestic airfare in June was up from 11% from last year. If you want a better deal, go further afield. International airfare remains comparable to last year. A recent survey shows 42% of Canadians are cutting back spending in some areas so they can simply stick to their travel plans. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith pitching that new bitumen pipeline to the BC coast that would closely twin the route used by the Trans Mountain Pipeline that's already in place. Smith's announcement came just hours yesterday after the Prime Minister announced inked a deal with BC on Thursday to make this all possible. Mark Carney says the route makes more sense given the line already exists and serves as a gateway to the world's fastest growing markets. The route would end at Delta. That's what we're looking at. Hudson's Bay completing its final art auction featuring 6 paintings connected to Norval Morrisseau. The 3 works were by Morrisseau, 3 from his studio. This top-selling piece went for $27,000. The auction also included HBC memorabilia, vintage signs, and a signed Toronto Raptors item. The highest selling price was a portrait of John Churchill, sold for $50,000. That is your news to 719.
Texter at 71010 says, I've taught my grandkids, dag nabbit.
That's
and
a good
we
one.
have so much fun with it.
What did you say? You said fiddlesticks?
Fiddlesticks?
Sugar.
Yeah.
There's always an alternative, especially for children, because, children have to understand the weight of these words.
Yeah.
And they don't. They want to say it because they feel it's a fast track to becoming an adult. And that's not necessarily the case. So, what's your alternative word? Or do you have one? Or have you sworn in front of somebody or somewhere where you shouldn't have?
You can tell us your stories at 71010. But we got to take a break right now. When we come back, we've been doing this week. We've been reaching out to some of the local school districts just to kind of do a recap. The school year's over. We're here in our first full week of summer, and we're just looking back at the school year that was and looking ahead. And I'll tell you, we got Greater Victoria School District coming up next. They've had a doozy of a school year for a lot of reasons, and we'll talk about it next with their superintendent. hey, let's do our CFAX 1070 traffic and weather at 7:22. And the roads look clear. No crashes, no accidents, no volume delays anywhere. BC Ferries, no sailing waits. 8 o'clock sailings coming up with room left on it from Swartz Bay to Sawasan. The weather forecast is where we got stuff to talk about. It's another kind of cloudy day today. We got a small chance of drizzle still in these morning hours. Maybe even a little fog out there. The rain kind of leaves us, but it stays cloudy today. Highs of 19 degrees, cooler by the water. Tonight is where we really start to see the clearing. Sometime overnight, the skies will start clearing up. Lows down to 12. And then tomorrow, sunshine with a few clouds. Highs up to 20. So getting back into the sunny, warmer stuff as of tomorrow. And then that's going to be the same on Sunday with temperatures up to 23. And our long-range forecast into next week stays pretty stable. We will still stay mostly sunny with temperatures into the low 20s as of next week. Just got to get through this one last kind of overcast, cooler day.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
I don't mean to freak any school children out here. We are going to talk about school, but don't worry. You still got all of summer. We're just taking a look back at the year that just wrapped up in the Victoria area. We've been doing this, reaching out to the local superintendents to put a cap on the school year. And Superintendent of the Greater Victoria School District, Deb Whitten, is joining us now. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. Thank you very much.
We're really glad we could do this. We just wanted to spend this first week of summer kind of just touching base before everybody sails off into the summer sunset for a while and then doesn't have to think about school for a bit.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm sure it's one that some people just want to land into summer and are like, whoa, let's not talk about school already. But it's nice to kind of recap what great things happened in the school year for sure.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Let's start off with your highlights from the past year.
Yeah, no, I think we've had several great things that have happened. We had a significant focus on literacy this year. So all of our schools had a goal focused on literacy or worked towards a goal on literacy. And that really looked at literacy across all subject areas and what that meant for students as young as 4 and 5 all the way through to graduate. So that was one area that we had a significant focus on. It led to many good things throughout the district on some buddy reading and some school-wide launches and Battle of the Books at middle school. So lots of good things with that. We also had some wonderful student-led initiatives. We had a Climate Action Youth Summit. We also had a Wellness Resource Fair. I think that was in its 4th year, completely run by students, also with some support from the student rep group from the district. So really nice to see student leaders stepping forward and leading the way that they will lead into the future. We had, as you know, the opening of the Cedar Hill Middle School, so fantastic new middle school in our district. We had an Indigenous Education Council that we started, and we've had some really meaningful and important meetings throughout the year this year, and celebration of Vic High, so 150-year celebration led by the alumni, and they had, I think, 3 or 4 days of events happening. So lots of good things, athletics, music, musical theater, and many grads with many scholarships. So overall, a very successful year.
And as we head towards the next school year, again, I don't mean to imply that it's coming anytime soon. If you got kids listening, I don't want to make them upset. But anything parents should know or kids should know and start thinking about when it comes to the next school year, what's coming at us?
Yeah. Well, first, let's enjoy a summer and let's make sure people take the rest and relaxation they need and deserve. But we do start September 8th, so we have a bit longer of a summer, which I think, well, most students enjoy. And then we have, for people who are interested, we have our school supply list is on our website. So elementary and middle school, you can check that out. We also, as we know, have daylight saving time, so we're going to make sure that we focus in the fall around active transportation and wearing light clothes and reflective gear. So that's one area that we're really going to look at and make sure that we've got the proper way to transport and being seen is important.
Yeah, we're heading towards a lot of dark mornings commuting into school, which will be a new thing for us.
Yeah. So I think it's important when we get back and we still have that light to have the conversations about what it looks like to cross carefully and and to be seen, because wearing light clothing and reflective gears is super important in the dark mornings.
Now, another thing people might be wondering is, of course, one of the biggest things probably in the news to happen over the course of this school year was happening at the school board level when we saw the reinstatement of the school board that had previously been fired by the BC government, and there was a trustee put in place to look after things. But just recently, as the school year came to an end, the board came back in. We don't need to retread all of that, but how does that affect things as we head towards the next school year and an election in October for municipalities, but also the school board?
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize there are many great things happening before and during and after, and those things are continuing, and we have very important and good conversations with the board around what was occurring and things that they had put in place that continue to be in place, and maybe some new things that came in, and just looking back on those things and trying to make sure everybody's up to speed and have decisions that are made in the way that the board feels are important, and just looking forward to continuing much of the work that they put in place and that was continued by the official trustee and that continues into the next election. It really is setting up the next board for success and making sure that people get out and vote and are aware of the voting day and participate in that.
Now, one of the things that we were looking at when it comes to voting day was a change to this ward system where your individual municipalities and areas will get a chance to elect a trustee that's sort of tied to your area instead of everybody being at large. Now, they already do this in the Saanich School District and other school districts all across BC, just Victoria didn't do it that way, and the idea was to change it. Do you know if that's still moving ahead with this new board, or where's that at?
Yeah, it's still moving ahead. That's still the plan, that there will be electoral areas, and that'll happen in this election. So that still remains to be the plan. I think, in fairness, there are conversations and some updating and going back and helping people to understand what this process looked like and how we went through it. But right now, it still seems or is going forward.
Well, thank you so much for catching us up on a school year that was and a school year ahead. Deb Whitten is superintendent of the Greater Victoria School District. Enjoy your summer. I mean, I gather you still have to work, but I mean, it's going to be a little different, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. If I could, I always like to end with appreciation and gratitude, and I really do want to reach out and thank the staff and the students and the families for a fantastic year. It doesn't happen without their efforts. Lots of volunteers and lots of staff members that step up and step in to do things, and the students who are fantastic in our district, and also just want to recognize the retirees and the graduates. So moving on to something different, but certainly played a key role in the success in our district, and I really am thankful to those people as well.
Good stuff. Deb Whitten, superintendent, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
We'll take a break. 7:30 News is next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:32 on this Friday, July 3rd. Lots of listeners at 7:10:10 letting us know about their favorite moments of swearing as we talk about the science of swearing. We'll get more into your text in just a moment, but right now the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
Thank you. Not quite patio weather yet today, but it's coming this weekend. The sun's going to shine. Victoria Mayor Marinalto says she's pleased the council endorsed a new approach to the cost of business patio licenses, which were a lifeline for many businesses during the pandemic. That increase will now be tied to the cost of living index. Alto says patios bring a special appeal here in Greater Victoria.
Patios, particularly in a city like Victoria, which has year-round weather most of the time, really do change the way we interact with one another. And certainly they're an enormous boon, I think, to businesses that can provide some type of a service that can be activated outside, obviously mostly restaurants and bars. But in this case, it really changes the ambiance, I think, of a streetscape. And I like that. And I think it's really positive. And I'm really glad that staff found a way to bring that forward and that council endorsed it.
We're happy too. The change will be incorporated into the current patio bylaw. Some 60,000 nurses in this province exercising their legal strike position. The BC Nurses Union says it will use targeted action, beginning with the ban on non-nursing duties. So think of working overtime, processing doctor's orders, and answering phones. The union says the provincial government has failed to meaningfully respond to nurses' concerns to improve its bargaining mandate. It says the first phase of a broader escalation plan that could expand in the coming days if government doesn't return to the bargaining table with an offer that the nurses can actually work and live with. Canadians continue to hop aboard planes even as the ticket prices remain well above last year's levels.
Travel search platform CFAX says domestic economy airfares stood 11% higher in late June than a year earlier, while international fares were comparable year over year. Air Canada and other major North American airlines have said demand going into peak travel season is proving resilient despite geopolitical instability in parts of the world. Travel expert Barry Choi says as long as demand holds steady, airlines have little incentive to lower their fares, despite fuel prices coming back down to earth. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
The federal government is asking unions and employers for more feedback on how to smooth out the wrinkles in Canada's labour relationships. Ottawa is doing a second round of consultation on the future of the labour code this summer, after the first try in the spring didn't go deep enough on some prickly issues. Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says the aim is to prevent blow-ups between the parties that we keep them at the bargaining table.
Ultimately, the goal of these consultations is to understand how to minimize those times where relationships are so frayed, where people are so angry with each other that coming to an agreement about the next 5 years seems like an impossible task.
Hajdu says modernizing the labour code could include guardrails or alternatives to using Section 107, which has become a controversial tool to scuttle work stoppages in recent years. And the same financial disclosure forms that shows the U.S. president's wealth growing by about $2 billion over the first year this term are also showing thousands of stock trades carried out by the president's financial team. In all, the form shows about 21,000 stock trades last year alone.
These financial disclosure forms are mandatory, which is why we're now learning about this information. And the number of trades mark a significant departure for what we have seen from past presidents who have either divested completely or invested solely in mutual index funds. The White House is defending this move, saying that this team is an outside group not tied to the president.
More to come on that. And that's your news to 7:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you have faith in that memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes the oil pipeline, which is now going through? 55% say yes, they do have faith. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:37.
And we talk about the science of swearing. What was the name of that thing again?
Lalachizia.
So that's the name for the relief you feel when you swear. Because apparently, according to science, there's actually a reason we do this.
Yeah, it's your lizard brain making your body feel better.
When something bad happens, like you stub your toe, or I don't know, your team loses at the World Cup, or whatever it is.
You're in gridlock.
Or you're in traffic.
Crawl.
Texter at 71010 says, my mom taught me poo-poo face as a term. She taught us that back in the day because ladies didn't say the other word that it could have been.
The S word?
Do you have any fun swearing stories? You can let us know at 71010. We'll get to more of those texts in just a moment. Right now, though, let's get to the sports, and let's talk first off about baseball. Lots going on, so let's go to the majors first. Bryce Miller took a no-hitter into the seventh inning, and the Seattle Mariners edged the Los Angeles Angels 1-0 to finish a three-game sweep. And now Seattle will take on the Toronto Blue Jays, who are in town. So the Blue Jays are in Seattle for a weekend series, as Seattle stays tied with the Texas Rangers for first place in the American League West at 45-43 heading into this. Over to the Harbor Cats. They had a bit of a rain delay yesterday here in Victoria at Wilson's Group Stadium, Royal Athletic Park, but they eventually got their 2-1 win over the Nanaimo Night Owls. That completed the three-game series. Victoria takes 2 out of the 3 games. Nanaimo won. Harper Cats now hit the road to Kelowna for a 3-game weekend series. Victoria Shamrocks in action tonight at home at the Q Centre. They're hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. Shamrocks topping the WLA standings heading into this, 9 wins, 2 losses. At the World Cup of Soccer, Switzerland has advanced to the round of 16 with a 2-0 win over Algeria in a game at BC Place Stadium. The Swiss will next face the winner of Friday's round of 32 matchup between Colombia and Ghana on July 7th in Vancouver. Toronto hosted its final match of this World Cup. So Toronto now bows out of the World Cup as a host city. Vancouver's got the one more game coming up. But Toronto saw Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal pull out a 2-1 comeback win over Croatia last night. With that, Croatia is out and Portugal will move on. And Ronaldo became the oldest player, I think, ever in a World Cup to score a goal. I believe he got that bit of history yesterday in that. There are 3 round of 32 matches today at the World Cup. Australia, that one. Australia taking on Egypt. Argentina faces Cape Verde and Miami. So there's Messi getting to play very close to his home club. The winners of those matches will play each other in the round of 16. The late game is Colombia facing Ghana. We mentioned that one, which is important because they're the ones who will go on to play Switzerland at Vancouver on July 7th. And that is your CFAX Sports to 740. It's 7:41 in traffic and weather. The roads are clear right now, although if I'm missing something, text me at 71010. But otherwise, we're seeing nothing to speak of as far as problems on the commute. No problems at BC Ferries either. The 8 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen is coming up with some room left. The weather, it's still going to be a little overcast, a little cooler feeling today, a little damper feeling, although it's just a chance of drizzle through these morning hours. Then we dry up but stay cloudy into the afternoon. Highs of 19 today. A little cooler by the water, maybe a bit breezy off the Juan de Fuca Strait. Tonight, that's where we start to see the skies clear up. Lows to 12. Then we're into some sunshine again for the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny. Temperatures on Saturday is a high of 20. On Sunday, it's a high of 23. Both those days a little cooler by the water. And then into next week, the long-range forecast suggests it's going to stay mostly sunny, maybe a few clouds here and there, and temperatures should be hanging around the low 20s throughout next week. Right now, it is about 14 degrees in downtown Victoria. And for Shawnigan Lake, it is 13 degrees right now. On the markets, Canadian markets are open. S&P TSX up 366 to 35,333. The U.S. markets closed as we're heading towards July 4th, Independence Day for the Americans coming up. And for the Canadian dollar, 70.4 cents U.S.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
The science of swearing, it actually makes you feel better if you let out a curse word, a word your brain perceives as a bad word. That's the trick we learned in our little science chat a few moments ago.
You have to swear.
Yeah, it can't just be you substituting a word you know is fine. You gotta
sugar doesn't cut it for me.
You gotta believe that it's a bad word. So
it's sweet, but not.
Texters are sharing the stories.
Spicy.
I can't read all the stories just because some of them actually reference some words we can't say on the radio. But I
we can always
appreciate
fill the blanks as adults.
I appreciate your text messages regardless. This texter says, "My mom was a primary school teacher." Oh, there's a situation where you just gotta eliminate those words from your vocabulary.
In front of the kids.
So she and her colleagues used fire trucks as their alternative swear word.
Okay.
Usually repeated several times from Glenn and Esquimalt.
Throughout the day.
Here's a story for me. When I was infant, I don't remember this, but my mom remembers this, and she tells me it all the time. I couldn't pronounce the word truck.
Okay.
So it came out as something else, which caused all kinds of embarrassment when I would get excited in public seeing a big truck go by.
So how old were you? A toddler?
Like beyond memory, toddler. Yeah, learning to speak. First words.
You can't wrap your lips around the. Yeah, you're figured.
Little child screaming about, "Hey, Mom, look at that big."
Yeah,
and
your mother's mortified. I had a similar thing around the same age. I really liked to eat for dinner Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was a big thing. We'd have it once a week as our family meal on Fridays. Except I couldn't say K's, but I could say F's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So my parents got me to say it repeatedly because they thought it was a great joke among the friends. I was raised by wolves.
Oh, man. I got another fire truck one. This texter says, "Good morning, happy Friday." Instead of blurting out a profanity, I loudly blurt fire truck. That's the second one who uses fire truck. I like that.
I got to try it. See if it works. Does it make you feel better?
Yeah, as long as it does. This texter says, "Oh, dear Lisa, one of the reasons I can't post most of the stuff I've caught on my dash cam is because of my running commentary in the background, usually laced with exceedingly colorful language." That's from Chris. Have a good weekend, Chris.
It's when everybody puts up music instead. It's like, I wonder what the actual video audio was about. When things go sideways in traffic. And it's that kind of day. A lot of people are out of Dodge already, but there'll still be probably a bit of a hike on the Malahat. People heading for other areas.
Yeah.
As we head out on vacation.
Yeah.
To the wilderness.
And maybe you're angry at them on the road. This texter says...
Stay in your lane.
This texter says, "Fudge knuckles or shingles are their go-tos." Shingles. I like that.
Sounds painful.
Yeah. And this texter says, "We had a sin bin at home, when we said a bad word, we had to put a nickel in it if we got caught. I had IOUs in the jar some weeks." Did you run out of nickels?
Have you ever done that? You ever done a swear jar?
No, I've never done it, but I'm aware of them.
I did it because for 1 year, I gave up. I don't know. I gave up swearing for some silly reason. I don't swear that much, but we had this jar, and I had to stop. Because I couldn't find enough, I don't know if it was loonies or quarters. I think it was loonies. It's like, when we get enough, we'll buy a bottle of wine or something. Yeah, we had plenty of alcohol in the house. And I ran out of loonies. Because it's like when you go on a diet and you're suddenly thinking about food a lot.
Now it's just on your mind all the time.
Yeah, because you're counting calories. And so that's what your frontal lobe is all thinking about. That's kind of how it is when you go on a swear diet. If you swear. Now, I'm not a trucker. I don't, and no offense to truckers if you don't. Maybe there's truckers out there that don't swear. But we all have our moments where we exercise our la lechizia.
Great word. 746, what's happening in the headlines, Lisa?
The 2028 Global Summit of the Francophonie set to be held in the Ottawa area. The summit typically plays every 2 years, bringing together leaders around the world to discuss the state of the French language, which is Canada's second language, and other shared interests. The members include countries and sub-national regions with ties to the French language and to France. This year's summit takes place in Cambodia in the fall. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith pitching that new bitumen pipeline to the BC coast that would closely follow the route already in place by the Trans Mountain Pipeline. Smith's announcement came just hours after Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the deal inked in BC with the Premier to make this all possible. Carney says the route makes the most sense, given that the line already exists and serves as a gateway to the world's fastest-growing markets. We've got our eyes on Asia. Carney's agreement with BC includes a promise to uphold the tanker ban on BC's northern coast, while the Premier pledged his province, this one, would not fight the pipeline proposal in court. And a 3-armed Lynx spacecraft launched today to rescue NASA's Swift Observatory, which is at the risk of falling back to Earth. Swift has been losing altitude faster than due to recent solar storms. NASA paying $30 million for a spacecraft to boost it higher. The spacecraft expected to reach Swift in about a month, raise its orbit by about 240 kilometers so it can resume observing gamma ray bursts on exploding stars. NASA moved quickly because Swift could be too low to recover by a fall, which would burn up in the atmosphere sometime in October. And that's your news to 748.
The text machine at 71010 has just turned into people swearing at me. At least it kind of reads like that.
In this case,
yeah,
it makes sense.
This texter just says, son of a biscuit.
No, I like that one.
That's a good one.
I do like that one.
This texter says, Ryan, where was this? When my mom moved to town, I didn't want to swear in the car. That makes sense. You know, you got to behave in front of your mom.
Of
that
course,
makes sense.
Yeah, you don't want to do.
So I started calling everybody a wiener. I still do it. It's satisfying, says this texter. I love that. That's a good story.
You're a wiener. Everyone's a wiener.
You know who might be needing to let out some
steam,
some swear words, some lullacheesia, is people watching the World Cup tomorrow, depending on the moments, with Canada and our time at the World Cup on the line against Morocco. This is 10 a.m. live on the radio, by the way. Sports guy Steve is coming up in just a few moments to talk to us about the game tomorrow. What should we be watching for? What can Canada do to stay alive here? So we're going to get to that in just a moment. Also, you might be listening wondering, hey, when's he going to give away the Pacific FC tickets? Because he's had those every day this week, and why haven't they happened yet? I do have a 4-pack of tickets to see Pacific FC play this Sunday against Halifax. If you want the last pair, we're going to do that just after the 8 o'clock news and sports and weather and traffic and all that stuff. So you haven't missed it. It's coming up.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Okay, the CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. First of the season, wild Pacific sockeye salmon has arrived fresh from the ocean, never frozen, and delivered daily. Eat happy. Okay, traffic and weather. We got nothing on the roads. It's fine. Text me if you see a problem, but there's no problem. So let's just go to the weather forecast, where it is mainly cloudy for the day today. We do have this small chance of drizzle still with us. If you see any rain where you are, let me know at 7:10:10, because as far as I know, it's drying up, but we do have a chance we could still see some precipitation this morning. It's kind of overcast for the rest of the day. Highs to hit 19 degrees, so a bit warmer than yesterday. And then we clear up overnight. Lows to 12. Sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Maybe a bit of cloud, but mostly sunny through the weekend after today. And we'll have temperatures on Saturday up to 20, Sunday up to 23 degrees. Right now, we're still around about 14 degrees around the region.
The lineup in his first offering. Touch them all, Joe. The golden goal.
It's Sports Guy Steve.
Oh, my goodness.
What did you say? You heard me.
Here's Sports Guy Steve. Just a bit outside.
Here he is helping us set up a weekend of World Cup action. Steve, how you doing?
Not too bad. Looking forward to tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, Team Canada against Morocco. This is going to be a tense nail-biter of a game, I'm assuming, and I want to set this up with you in just a second. Tell us what we need to do as Team Canada to get through this, and what should we be watching for. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the other stuff that's been going on. So if you watched the Portugal game yesterday, which was another nail-biter, Portugal having to come from behind, Ronaldo with some heroics. But then there was a moment, Steve, near the end of it, where Croatia tried to get back into it. They scored a goal, but it got waved off after a ton of, waiting around and video review. It's another moment where this World Cup has been a big showcase for this VAR stuff and all this new technology, which is, on one hand, I feel like it's kind of making it a bit more fair. It's taking some of the decisions out of the hands of referees who may or may not have seen everything clearly. But it's also got a lot of people, like the fans yesterday of Croatia, very upset. Can we talk a bit about all this technology?
First of all, did you see the lady that expressed herself thoroughly about that call on TV?
She's becoming a meme, I think. I've seen snippets of her on social media.
It's a Lala Chizia here.
Yeah, there you go.
In action.
I don't know what she said. I can't read her lips at all.
But it's you don't need to know what the word was. You
I bet
see
she feels better, though.
What she's doing. So, what now? Talk about this technology. What's going on here?
So the reason they were able to make that call was because they have a sensor inside the soccer ball that determined, because they have an algorithm, that it touched the guy's head, the Croatian player's head.
Okay.
Because they matched it up with the video. So the video and the ball come out on a platform, and they could tell, because it wasn't clear on any of the video I saw anyway, that it had touched the Croatian player's head, but the ball detected that it had moved. So the sensor inside the ball is what determined who won that soccer game.
Right, the sensor to ball, which again, I understand why some people get very frustrated with this stuff, because it looks like stuff you used to be able to sneak away with. You used to get away with some of these calls if the ref didn't quite catch something so subtle, like you said, that you could barely tell on video. But now some of these things are getting called because we've got these new technologies, which I think is a good thing. I mean, I am actually quite happy that there's impartial, just here's the physical evidence. We don't need to have a ref make a call. But I can understand why it's frustrating some people.
And I think one of the credits you have to give is to the tennis world, because a lot of this technology started in tennis.
Okay.
You remember how we used to have so many, John McEnroe and people like that, line calls. And they basically developed a system where it shows on a court, anytime where the ball drops, it can determine where it hit the ground. So I really give tennis a lot of credit for advancing some of the technology around here that we're seeing play out in other sports. And I also want to give Fox credit for putting the sensor in the puck so they could do weird things with it. Remember when Fox came on with the NHL coverage, and all of a sudden we had the puck with the sensor in it.
That was
Maybe
like that was a
start.
good 20 years ago or something, now, wasn't it? That was a while ago. I remember that. I remember Canadians making endless fun of it.
Oh, endless. To the point where the NHL says, yeah, maybe not good.
Yeah, technology's not always here to stay, but we're seeing it on display at the World Cup. Let's talk about tomorrow. So Canada, Morocco, 10 a.m. It will be live here on the radio, by the way, on CFAX 1070. So we've already made our history as Team Canada. We've gotten further than we've ever done at a World Cup. I think we've already kind of proven ourselves. But wouldn't it be cool to keep it going one more, to make it through a round of 16 knockout stage? What do we need to be watching for against what is a much higher ranked team that I think hasn't lost a game in like 30 matches or something? Morocco's going to be tough. What do we need to be watching for? What does Canada need to do to stay alive here?
I think you just need to give yourself a chance to win. The first goal would be huge if they could get that. But just stay in the game, and then you see what can happen. And so much of the drama in this tournament has been in stoppage time after the 90 minutes is over. Like, think of what the last 10 days have been like. And it's been about stoppage time over and over and over again. If you could get 0-0 into stoppage time, then you're giving yourself a really good chance to win a soccer match. I think that's one of the things that they need to do. I hope they save Davies for the last 20 minutes like they did the last game. I think that's a really good approach because he brought something special. The team got energized the minute he hit the pitch. He was energized. He'll be fitter this time. I think that's the kind of thing I'd love to see Canada do. I'd love to put Larin back in the lineup. I'm convinced he was a little hurt, and that's why they kept him out of the last game. But he has proven over and over again he's the most consistent scorer this country has.
So one last thing, we got to go. But so Alphonso Davies, definitely coming in at the end, we hope. But you think he's going to get more playing time? Because it was just about 10 minutes last time.
I think he will. Yeah. I think from what I'm hearing out of the reports from training is he's even a little faster than he was. He seems to have a little more bounce in his step. All that is good, positive stuff. One more thing, Ryan.
Yeah, go for it.
I listened to the Croatia game on the radio.
Yeah?
Coming home from work yesterday.
Yeah?
You know, soccer on the radio is pretty good for the excitement because you don't really know what happened until it happens. Like, there's some drama there that isn't the visual, right? Because you're depending on the announcer to paint the picture for you.
I love it.
I found it.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Oh, the theater of the mind, listening to that game on CFAX, and I'm not just because I work here. I love listening to it. It's just a whole other level because your mind, it's like reading a book versus watching a movie.
Yeah, you get to paint your own picture.
Oh,
It's
fantastic.
Cool. Well, there you go. Sports guy Steve, he'll be watching, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to dissect what happens this weekend. A big match for Canada tomorrow. But I always appreciate your time, Steve. Thank you.
Take care.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 8:02 on this Friday, July the 3rd. Overcast today, small chance of drizzle still with us this morning. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. But right now, the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
We're talking pipeline. That new West Coast oil pipeline Alberta's been promoting will have a familiar route and a familiar operator. The province has submitted its application to the Federal Major Projects Office for more than 1 million barrel a day pipeline. Instead of the northern route, as Premier Danielle Smith had earlier said she preferred, the pipeline is to largely follow the path of the existing one through southern BC, the Trans Mountain Pipeline. The Crown Corporation that runs Trans Mountain is set to take the lead on building this one too. Trans Mountain CEO Mark Mackey says the private sector has a rough history of trying to build new pipelines in this country.
This is really why public-private partnership really works, is it'll help clear, I think, people's uncertainties about what's it like to build in Canada now.
The submission package says the estimated price tag for this new pipeline could run north of $43 billion. 60,000 BC nurses exercising their legal strike position. The BC Nurses Union using targeted action, beginning with a ban on non-nursing duties and non-essential overtime, says an impasse continues between the union and the province. This is Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu argues that boosting Canada's economy goes hand in hand with labor rights. A Senate report recently argued that Ottawa must find a way to avoid strikes in rail and port sectors that could damage Canada's reputation as a reliable trading partner. Hajdu says Canada's work to diversify into new trading markets relies on fostering strong labor relations.
As the Prime Minister is working to find new markets for products, to expand our trading partners, to sell our products to the world, we also need to demonstrate that we have a very efficient labor system.
Ottawa's Labour Code review is entering a second phase this summer, asking employers and unions about guardrails and alternatives to federal intervention and the bargaining process. A controversial motion about the future of the Harbour Safe Consumption site on Pandora was defeated in a 7-1 vote yesterday. It called for the city to ask Island Health to eventually cease operations at that site. The motion introduced by Councillor Mark Gardner.
Let me be clear. What we are seeing on Pandora and beyond is not an outcome of compassion. Compassion is not placing vulnerable people in situations where they become victims of illicit drug dealers and criminals. True compassion is to do what we can do to break the cycle of misery and dependence of those caught in the grip of drug addiction. The harbour has become a magnet for those addicted to drugs and for drug dealers and criminals who prey on the weak and defenseless.
Mayor Marinalto says Victoria is carrying the weight of the region when it comes to services available like those offered at Harbour. And that is your news to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you have faith in that memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes an oil pipeline? Well, here we are, and it's pretty split. Just over 50% say yes, the rest saying no faith. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also in the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 8:07.
That 4-pack of tickets to see Pacific FC take on Halifax this weekend. Their first game back from the break. Their first game with their new coach. We got tickets to give away coming up pretty soon. Once you hear the cue to call 250-386-1161. Before that, let's get to the sports, and let's start with the World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. An all-time classic in the final game at Toronto Stadium as Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal beat Croatia 2-1.
And here he is now with the hopes of a nation once more resting on his shoulders. Ronaldo. 1-1 in Toronto.
Cristiano Ronaldo scored an equalizer on a 68th-minute penalty kick, and then teammate Gonzalo Ramos scored the winner on a header in stoppage time to send Portugal to a round of 16 matchup against their arch-rival neighbors from Spain, which dominated Austria, winning 3-0. In the late game, Switzerland advanced with a 2-0 win over Algeria. Today, 3 final round of 32 games include Argentina against Cabo Verde, Australia versus Egypt, and Colombia takes on Ghana. Tomorrow, the round of 16 kicks off in Houston, where Canada will take on 6th ranked in the world Morocco, which is unbeaten in its last 33 matches. The latest, biggest game ever for our national men's team. That one begins at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
There you go. And, of course, that'll be right here on CFAX 1070. If you need the World Cup Canada game on the radio tomorrow at 10, we got you covered on CFAX 1070. Let's take a look at some other quick local things. Victoria Harbour Cats in action last night. Had a bit of a rain delay, but they did get there eventually and got a 2-1 win over the Nanaimo Night Owls. So after 3 games, Victoria sort of takes that series 2-1. Harbour Cats now hit the road. They'll be in Kelowna for 3 games over the weekend. And the Victoria Shamrocks in action tonight at home at the Q Centre. They're hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. The Shamrocks continue to top the WLA standings with 9 wins and 2 losses heading into this matchup tonight. And that is your CFAX 1070 Sports. It is 8:09. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. First of the season, wild Pacific sockeye salmon has arrived. Fresh from the ocean, never frozen, delivered daily. Eat happy at Thrifty's. The roads are clear. No crashes or accidents to report right now. No volume delays. Really nothing on the roads. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. For the weather forecast, that's where we got some stuff to talk about. Mainly cloudy for the rest of today. We do have a small chance of drizzle still with us this morning. A little fog potentially this morning as well. Once we get through the possible drizzle, we're just into that cloudy day. A little warmer than yesterday because 19 degrees will be our high. A little cooler by the water where we could see a bit of wind. So that's today, just unpacking the day. Tonight it starts to clear up, lows down to 12. And then the weekend, sun's up, gets sunnier, those things. Sunshine for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures of 20 for Saturday, 23 for Sunday. And the long-range forecast into next week suggesting things stay mostly sunny with temperatures into the low 20s as a high. For the temperatures right now, Oak Bay, you're looking at 13 degrees as we get into this day, and it's about 15 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. On the markets, S&P TSX up 307 points to 35,274. Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents U.S., which is down just the slightest of ticks from yesterday's close. And American stock markets closed as they get into the 4th of July holiday.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Let's give away some tickets. Pacific FC are going to be playing at home this Sunday against Halifax. It's their first game back after the World Cup break, and it's their first game with their new coach. Would you like to go see it? Call me right now, 250-386-1161. It's 250-386-1161. I'm just going to take a random caller, and I'll talk to you in a second. So give me that ring right now. Who's this? I've got a phone call. Hello? Who's this?
My name is Roger.
Roger, how you doing this morning?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm actually really glad it's Friday. Are you feeling weird, though, like this week, like Friday doesn't feel like it should be Friday because we had that holiday on Wednesday, and are you discombobulated as well?
I'm more appreciative than anything.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Did you have a good Canada
quick week
Day?
for me. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you a Pacific FC fan?
Absolutely. I try to go every year.
Really? And now, what do you think about this new coach coming in on Sunday?
I wish him the best.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully he turns things around. Well, you'll get to see the new coach in action because you're going.
Hey, all right. I'm excited.
Oh, that's great, Roger. Now, you got the tickets. I'll put you on hold in a second, and we're going to take your information so we can get you the tickets. But I do have one more question for you. Sorry to keep you here and stretch this out, but do you, just because we've been talking about it, do you have any experiences with swearing when you shouldn't have?
Swearing when I shouldn't have? Oh, my goodness. I mean, I'm doing pretty well on live radio right now, so I think I'm good.
Very good.
Thank you for controlling the urge.
Because we got a lot of people weighing in here. Hold on the line, Roger. We're going to get you in just a moment. But Lisa, we've still got so many text messages about this because we've been talking about, what did you call it again? What's the scientific term for this? Lollichesia. So it's the relief you get from swearing. So your brain actually will release some endorphins and make you feel better in a moment of pain or frustration with a swear word.
Yeah.
But it gets us into trouble sometimes, and people are sharing their stories at 71010. This texter here says, "Good morning. I was born in 1955. My sisters and I were not allowed to say the word fart, as mom considered it a swear word, so she taught us instead to say parp." So then, fast forward to 1973, first year at UBC, off to university, sitting with roommates, and somebody farted. And I said, "Did somebody parp?" And then everybody's like, "Parp?
It was
What?"
lost in translation.
And then, needless to say, I was teased for quite some time.
Yeah, for a whole other reason.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you for sharing that, and thanks to Mom for causing those moments. So there's another example of it. I love the text we're getting this morning as we talk about lollichesia. Okay, we'll talk to Roger in just a second. We're going to take a break, get the news headlines at 8:15 with Lisa.
Thanks and good morning. You might want to check your bank account. There may be a few more dollars in there than when you went to bed last night. The Carney government has begun issuing those quarterly affordability benefits, which replace the previous GST, HST credits. Like last month's one-time bonus payment to eligible Canadians, the reoccurring remittance will vary in size depending on your marital status and the number of children you have in your house. It could run from a few $100s. Larger families could get up to $1,000. BC Highway Patrol releasing dramatic video reminding drivers and riders that passing on the right is illegal and dangerous. A Chilliwack resident has a wrecked motorcycle and a lighter wallet because he tried it, attempted to pass on the right in a busy highway last month. It happened in the morning of June 18th on Highway 1 westbound in Vancouver. A patrol officer in heavy traffic spotted a rider in a black Harley-Davidson traveling in the right shoulder, weaving in and out of traffic. When the officer activated his lights and siren, a blue pickup truck pulled to the right, which you're supposed to do, required by law. However, at the same time, the rider was attempting to pass that truck on the right. Of course, the driver didn't see him, and he ended up being pushed into a cement barrier. The video also shows a patrol officer immediately putting the rider in handcuffs. In BC, passing on the right illegally carries a $109 penalty. Fine, that is, and 2 penalty points on your license, assuming you don't cause a collision as well, which would be a different level. And we've lost a great in Canadian music. Tommy Hunter has died at the age of 89.
I am a traveling man following the breeze.
He was a fixture in Canadian living rooms for decades with his long-running variety TV show on CBC. The late country star's business manager, Brian Edwards, confirms the news. Tommy's wife, they spent decades together. Shirley died last year. He's survived by his 3 adult sons, Greg, Jeff, and Mark. And that is your news to 8:17.
Well, even though it's the first week of summer, Canada Day was this week, we still had some pretty consequential news breaking over the course of the week, including yesterday, learning that the new Alberta-backed bitumen pipeline to the BC coast will, if it happens, closely follow the route already used by the Trans Mountain Pipeline. That news yesterday came just hours after Prime Minister Mark Carney was here in BC, standing next to Premier David Eby, announcing that the tanker ban off BC's northern coast would remain. So that'll be upheld. That's the promise from the federal government. And Premier Eby pledging that our province here will not fight the pipeline proposed in court if it follows this route. So that is where we're sitting at, but there's so much more to unpack here, and we're going to get into that next with Vancouver Sun columnist Vaughn Palmer. Love to talk to him and get his perspective on things. We're going to do that next. CFAX traffic and weather. Clear as a bell out there for the morning commute. No crashes or accidents. Text me at 71010 if you see anything. And the weather, well, it's going to be overcast for today, but this chance of drizzle that is still in the forecast technically should be easing off as the morning goes on. Just staying cloudy, though. A little warmer than yesterday at a high of 19 degrees. It does clear up tonight, and then by Saturday, Sunday, so tomorrow and Sunday, we're back into some sunshine, maybe a few clouds, and temperatures getting into around about the 20-degree mark, maybe even a bit warmer by Sunday. Right now, it's still around about 14 degrees over most of Victoria, but I am seeing 15 as the official temperature at the Victoria International Airport.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
So if built, this oil pipeline from Alberta would follow mostly the route that the Trans Mountain Pipeline follows, and eventually it would take it to Delta, to that terminal right beside where you get off the Swanson Ferry. You look across from the ferry terminal and you see that big Roberts Bank terminal. That's kind of where we're going. If it moves forward. But this is the politics of it all that got announced yesterday, and we're dissecting it with Vaughn Palmer, columnist with the Vancouver Sun, who's joining us on the line. How's it going there?
It's great. Busy day yesterday, Ryan, following the news here in British Columbia and then picking up on what happened in Alberta. Our Prime Minister managed to get the Premier of Alberta and the Premier of British Columbia on the same page on an issue, which in itself is something amazing given how many battles there have been between those two provinces over pipelines over the years.
Well, actually, that's a great point to start on. It was remarkable to see that the politics of this is everybody, coming to some kind of agreement agreement. Not everybody wins, but not everybody loses. It seems like maybe they've managed to find a way to get through something that people can stomach, or at least the politicians at the table. What do you make of the politics of actually pulling this off?
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows the Prime Minister so far is serious about getting stuff done in Canada and, took on the job and said we need to grow, we need to make more money off our resources, we need to get stuff done and built. And as I said yesterday, he gets the Premier of British Columbia and the Premier of Alberta to basically agree on a plan for pipeline through British Columbia to deliver oil to world markets. So, you can put an asterisk by the degree to which they agreed, but basically they agreed. The Prime Minister agreed to leave the moratorium on tankers in place for the North Coast, which means it's not practical to put a pipeline through to the North Coast. That leaves Alberta saying, okay, well, we'll go south, and the southern line will go down, follow the route of the existing Trans Mountain pipeline. So that route has already been environmentally reviewed and appealed. It won't finish up in Burnaby, though. Instead, it'll somewhere in the lower mainland, it'll divert southward and go to Roberts Bank. And the Prime Minister said the federal government's going to put up $10 billion, no small amount, to upgrade that port. So, you've got something happening. I mean, what is the message here? After a lot of fighting, Canada can actually be made to work. Now, they still have to deliver all this, but this is the first time they've even come close to agreeing about it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about those next steps and how do we actually get this into a reality next. But I just wanted to zero in on that Roberts Bank terminal. I mentioned, you take the Tsawwassen Ferry or the Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen Ferry, and if you're approaching Tsawwassen, you look over, you see that giant terminal. It's the one next to Tsawwassen. And my rough understanding, and I'm glad you're here because I was trying to remember the details of this, is that there have been upgrades proposed before fairly recently for that Roberts Bank terminal, but it's been kind of caught up in some legal challenges, all to do with the southern resident killer whales and endangered species. So is that something that could hang over this, possible challenges to the environmental and the whales aspect of the story?
I think the first thing the environmentalists are going to be doing is they were planning to fight a pipeline and a tanker terminal on the North Coast. So they're having to go back and go, well, that's not going to happen, so we better refocus ourselves on the South. So yes, the plans to expand the Roberts Bank terminal are already controversial and the subject of fighting, but it's a coal port. Like, we're shipping coal through it and have been shipping coal through it for more than 50 years. So it's not like it's a model environmental project to begin with. The Prime Minister addressed to that concern you've raised, Ryan, in two ways yesterday. I mean, first of all, he said the federal government's going to be putting up $10 billion to upgrade that port and deal with all the challenges there. But he also said, this didn't get a lot of attention because there were so many announcements yesterday. He said there's going to be a $250 million federal plan to deal with and address concerns about the southern killer whale population. So he's aware of the issue. He's aware of the concern. But again, we're already running BC ferries through those waters. We're running all kinds of container ships through those waters. And it's a coal port, so we're hauling coal in and out of there. So, I mean, the protection of the killer whales is needed anyway. We're also taking oil tankers out of Burrard Inlet and going through those waters. So, this may add to the traffic, but the traffic is already sufficiently large that you need a plan to protect the killer whales anyway.
Okay, but interesting to hear that already maybe they're trying to get ahead of the southern resident killer whale thing and announcing that money for protections. Okay, because there's part of the story that just was the first thing that came to mind for me is like, wasn't there something already problematic with that terminal? Yeah. So maybe they're trying to get through that. Now, another thing to get to is you mentioned if this even happens, because we've got to see what those next steps are. I guess Alberta and the that federally run Trans Mountain Pipeline Corporation are kind of, I guess, the ones now backing this. What does this actually look like as far as how we get shovels into the ground?
Well, you make a good point. I mean, as we said off the top, there are compromises here. So British Columbia got a compromise, no pipeline to the north coast, but British Columbia admitted it can't stop. It doesn't have the constitutional power to stop a pipeline. Alberta, well, they gave up on the idea of the north coast, but they've got a pipeline. Federal government, if you go back, Ryan, to the first announcement on this when Mark Carney was Prime Minister last year, he said, well, it's going to be a private sector project. No, not yet anyway. Basically, the federal government-owned pipeline company, the one they took over in the battle over the TMX pipeline, that's who's going to get started on this. So, yes, there may be some private money in it, and in the long run, you may even get a private operator, but there's sufficient doubt out there in the international market about Canada's willingness to actually let one of these projects go ahead. It's not really surprising that private pipeline builders weren't lining up for this project. I think they've kind of adopted a wait and see. Are these people really serious about actually building something, or are they just going to have a bunch of meetings and reviews and talking like they did on the last one?
Well, we're unpacking the story, and it's not going to be the last we hear of this as we continue to figure out what happens next. But there we go. The agreements and the discussions and the compromises all on display yesterday as the Prime Minister was here in BC and then in Alberta for these kind of two announcements about what the next stages of this pipeline could be and where it might go if we get there. Vaughn Palmer, columnist with the Vancouver Sun, always appreciate your thoughts on this, and do read Vaughn's column in the Vancouver Sun for more thoughts on this and all kinds of BC politics. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Ryan. We'll talk about this again, I'm sure.
I think it will be coming up a few times, I'm sure. We'll take a break. 8:30 news coming up next.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 8:30 on Friday, July 3rd. Good morning. A little cloudy for today. We've got a chance of drizzle still with us this morning, and a full forecast coming your way in just a moment. Right now, though, the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, and good morning. Victoria Mayor Marinalto calling for surrounding communities to step up. This after City Council voting 7-1, opposing a motion to shut down the lone standalone supervised drug consumption site in the region, the Harbour on Pandora Avenue. Councillor Mara Gardner proposed a motion calling for the city to ask Island Health to cease operations at that site. Mayor Alto admits the progress hasn't been as fast as she'd hoped, but they'll continue to work with Island Health to chip away at the problem.
We all know that drug use is common. It is not limited to Victoria, and it should not only be supported, responded to in any way just in Victoria. So I call again on our colleagues and our municipal areas in the Capital Regional District to look closely at the needs of their own people in their own community and to do the right thing.
Alto again says the solution can't be placed on one municipality alone and calls for provincial and federal help, in addition to surrounding communities stepping up to pull their weight. We've got 7 cruise ships coming to town between now and Sunday, bringing thousands of people to the Greater Victoria area. This as we learn of another cruise ship in another area with the norovirus outbreak.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says 102 passengers and 23 crew members on a Princess Cruises ship became infected with norovirus, which is highly contagious with symptoms of vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. The Ruby Princess docked Thursday in San Francisco, following a 20-day trip from San Francisco to Canada and Alaska. Princess Cruises says the Ruby Princess was scheduled to begin its next trip later Thursday, but that the ship would be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected before departing. Officials say there have been several reported outbreaks on cruise ships in the CDC's jurisdiction this year, most from norovirus. I'm Donna Warder.
To Washington, D.C. now, a 3-time U.S. Olympian now facing a felony charge in connection with the issues at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. David Hearn accused of ripping a 2-foot by 2-foot piece of the sealant that was applied to the bottom of the pool. The charge of destruction of property carries a sentence of up to 10 years.
President Trump has repeatedly claimed that vandals caused the damage, but has provided no evidence to back up any of those claims. Now, the reflecting pool has been plagued with issues for decades. President Trump spent about $16 million in taxpayer money for these renovations. And as we saw within weeks, that algae started booming again and that peeling paint floating to the top of the surface.
U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia says Hearn also yelled at a National Park Service employee. Hearn has denied all the charges, telling ABC he touched a piece of the coating that was already partially detached. More on that drama to come. The new West Coast oil pipeline Alberta's been promoting will have a familiar route and a familiar operator. As you've been hearing all morning on CFAX, the province submitting its application to the Federal Major Projects Office for a 1 million barrel a day pipeline. Instead of a northern route, as Premier Danielle Smith in Alberta had earlier said she preferred, the pipeline is to largely follow the path of the existing Trans Mountain pipeline to southern BC. Mark Mackey is the CEO of Trans Mountain. He declined to say what percentage of the line that entity would hold.
As far as our role, we're there really as the developer, I would say, the project manager, and then eventually the operator, because the system will integrate really well with our legacy pipeline.
The pipeline would run from Bruderheim, northeast of Edmonton, to a terminal in Delta, of course, just south of Vancouver. And the satirical news site The Onion is planning to send $100,000 U.S. to the families of victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting.
The news site The Onion is all about satire, and it's hoping that comedy will help the families of those who lost their lives in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. The Onion has been trying to buy InfoWars, Alex Jones's conspiracy platform that was forced into bankruptcy after he claimed the 2012 Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax and was ordered to pay more than $1 billion to the victims' families, money the families have yet to receive. Now The Onion has launched a webpage that's a parody of Jones's conspiracy platform, and it plans to give some of the revenue to families of the 20 first graders and 6 adults who lost their lives at the school in Newtown, Connecticut. I'm Donna Warder.
That's your CFAX News to 8:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you have faith in the memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes a new pipeline? That's coming to fruition, and 54% say yes, they do have faith, but the rest do not. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time, 8:37.
Thank you, Lisa. We have a cloudy day in store. A chance of drizzle still hanging over us after some rain yesterday. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, over to the sports. Lots going on. We will start with the World Cup of Soccer, Toronto's stadium, which is what you call it during the FIFA World Cup because you can't use the normal name. Toronto Stadium, full of drama as Portugal defeated Croatia in a round of 32 matchup last night. Portugal tied the match on Cristiano Ronaldo's penalty and took the lead when they got a goal in stoppage time later. Croatia had a goal in the dying seconds, but it was disallowed for offside. And there was a lot of anguish going on. The atmosphere charged as there are large Portuguese and Croatian communities in the Greater Toronto area. So that was the last night. That was Toronto's final game of the FIFA World Cup. So no more there. We will see more in BC, and there was a BC game yesterday for the World Cup. That one featured Switzerland defeating Algeria 2-0, so Switzerland will move forward. The final three World Cup round of 32 games are set for today. Australia faces Egypt. Argentina, they're the defending champs. They take on Cape Verde, and Colombia squares off against Ghana. Canada will kick off the round of 16 tomorrow with a game against Morocco in Houston, live right here on CFAX Radio at 10 in the morning. To baseball, Toronto Blue Jays are in Seattle to start a 3-game series with the Mariners. It's a rematch of last year's American League Championship Series, which Toronto won in 7 games. The Mariners come into the contest on a 3-game winning streak and tied for first in the AL West, while the struggling Blue Jays have lost 7 of their last 10 games. In local baseball, Victoria Harbour Cats had a bit of a rain delay yesterday, but once they got going, they did win 2-1 over the Nanaimo Night Owls. The Harbour Cats now hit the road for a 3-game series in Kelowna. And the Victoria Shamrocks are in action tonight at home at the Q Centre. They're hosting the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. The Shamrocks continuing to top the WLA standings with 9 wins and 2 losses. That's your sports to 8:39. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Text me at 71010 if you see a problem out there. Right now, things are looking very smooth. No volume delays, no crashes, and no waits at BC Ferries. Although I do have a BC Ferry notice that they've had a bit of fog. It is a little foggy, parts of the coastal region around Vancouver Island, and they left a little late at 8. The Queen of New Westminster leaving Swartz Bay bound for Tsawwassen at 8 o'clock. Left a little late because they were waiting on the fog to clear. They're underway, but a little bit delayed, so we'll see how that affects the schedule. Just, I guess, some weather conditions making things a little slow out there. Now to the weather. It is a cloudy day today. Chance of drizzle still this morning, although we're getting through the precipitation. Shouldn't be too much more, if anything. That fog, as mentioned, is a thing. And we'll see highs of 19 today. Then tonight it clears up, lows down to 12, and we're into some sunshine for tomorrow. Maybe a few cloudy periods, but mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 20. Sunday, sunshine, highs of 23. And then Monday and through next week, we're into sunshine and temperatures into the low 20s. We're just going to kind of sit there for a few days ahead of us. Right now, it's about 15 degrees in Victoria. The CFAX Morning Show is brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the the markets, a little quiet because south of the border closed for the 4th of July holiday. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, but they got the day off today. S&P TSX in Toronto, though, is open. It's up 329 to 35,295. The Canadian dollar at 70.4 cents U.S., which is down just a tick from yesterday's close.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk one more time about swear words.
Okay.
Because we've had so many great text messages on this.
People are very inventive, I find.
I love this. We're not going to say the swear words.
No, but it's the whole reason why we're doing this, exercising this, is the word la lechizia. And, there was a swear word. There were some swear words by another radio station earlier this week, which they've since apologized for. And we're all human. We're all fallible. And it went to air by mistake. And so we're talking about where have you sworn where you shouldn't have? And what do you use to swear rather than using the actual swear word? We're thinking, fudge and sugar and the like. And the satisfaction you get when you hurt yourself or you're frustrated from swearing, which is an actual term called la lechizia. You go.
I know. I love that there's science behind this. This texter says, "Good morning, Ryan and Lisa. When my son was a 2-year-old, he said the F-bomb.
Okay.
I asked him, where did you hear that word? And he said, from Dad, when he's under the truck. He immediately went to my husband and said, we're not allowed to say the F word anymore." So he went to Dad like, oh, Dad, sorry, you can't say that.
If he was working on a Focus, maybe never mind. I drive a Focus. I say the F word often when I drive the Focus, but I say Focus. No, never mind.
This texter says, having worked in the service industry for 35 plus years, I always had to refrain from using profanity, no matter how hard it was. I reserved the phrase, have a nice day, for those special circumstances, because in my mind, I was telling them something else without actually using the words. It was a good coping mechanism.
Yeah. Customer's always right, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, there you go. This texter says, Robin Williams used to use Shazbot on the Mork and Mindy show. So that was, I guess there's another substitute word. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he used to say that.
Yeah. It was the thing for a while.
Yeah. This texter here at 71010, let's do another one of these.
Okay.
Where was it? So I'm just going through my thing. Okay. Hi there. I worked in an operating room, and the doctor would say bloody hell, which is very sweary in Britain. So there's another one. Works for some
the
folks.
patient can hear you even though they're unconscious.
Can they?
Oh,
Really?
yes. Oh, yes. That's been proven.
Huh.
That's more science.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got another one with the Mork and Mindy reference. Here's a swear jar blast from the past. Compliments of Mork and Mindy. Mork swore using Shazbut. Another was my Grandpa Joe's swear word, which was kissamado.
That doesn't really roll off the tongue.
and when he'd swear, my Nana would give him a kiss, and he'd put a quarter into the swear jar.
Oh, nice.
That's from Kathleen.
That's good memories.
Oh, thanks for sharing these memories today.
All these fun words.
For your la lechizia. Maybe I'll just use that as a swear word from here on. Well, stub my toe. La lechizia!
It kind of floats, doesn't it?
Kind of works. I like it.
I don't mind that.
Okay. What's happening in the news, Lisa, at 8:45?
Well, you won't say that word when you check your bank account. If you're in for some money from the government, there may be a few more dollars in there than from when you went to bed last night. So check that. The Carney government has begun issuing that quarterly affordability benefit, which replaces the previous GST HST credit. Like last month's one-time bonus payment to eligible Canadians, the reoccurring remittance will vary depending on the size of your family, children in the household, and also your marital status. It could run from anywhere from a few $100s to more than $1,000 for families. So you might want to check on that money. We now know how the province's nurses will exercise their legal strike position. Some 60,000 nurses represented by the BC Nurses Union using targeted action, beginning with a ban on non-nursing duties and non-essential overtime. The union says the province has failed to meaningfully respond to nurses' concerns or improve its bargaining mandate. It says its first phase of a broader escalation plan could expand in coming days if the government doesn't return to the bargaining table with an offer that the nurses can actually get behind. And if you're looking to get behind some cool entertainment this weekend, tomorrow the one-day folk festival happens at the Royal Athletic Park. Your headliners are Chantal Karaviazuk, The Sadies, Barney Bentel, Deep Dark Woods, Sherry Alcavaldi will be there as well from 11 to 4 Sunday. It's the 59th annual Saanich Strawberry Festival at Beaver Beach and Elk Lake Beaver Regional Park. And admission is free. And, of course, the Island Festival celebration of all things Caribbean culture. You want to hang out in Lime. Music, food at Ship Point, and the Caribbean Carnival Parade, very colorful and very lively, happens tomorrow starting at 11:30 downtown. That's your news to 8:47.
Texter 71010 says, as a little boy, I once reported to my mom that my dad was using his golf course words again in the house. That was 55 years ago.
Oh, that's a good memory.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Nice.
This has been a wonderful chat. We are going to pivot, though, and get to our Friday food vibes. Dallas from the Vic Food Guys is joining us in just a moment with some things to eat, some things to try, some food events to check out this weekend. What's in store? Well, I know he's had a macaron that tasted like something that you wouldn't expect to be in a macaron.
Okay.
What's he talking about? Let's find out. Let's find out next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Downtown Victoria is alive with free soccer-themed events, live match screenings, and more. Details at downtownvictoria.ca. Celebrate summer at the 59th Annual Saanich Strawberry Festival, Sunday, July 5th, 11 to 4 p.m. at Beaver Beach at Beaver Lake Regional Park.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods, where first of the season, wild salmon from the Pacific Ocean has arrived. Fresh from the ocean, never frozen, and delivered daily. Eat happy at Thrifty Foods. On the road, still no issues to report for as far as crashes or big delays. Things are pretty smooth out there. Text me at 71010 if you see otherwise. For the BC ferries, a couple of fog delays being reported for some of the boats. Nothing too crazy. Just, for instance, the 8 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Swanson, which is the Queen of New Westminster. It left a little late because they had some fog issues. We've also got the 9 o'clock sailing just filled up, so it's a one sail wait, but it's leaving in 10 minutes, so I don't think it's going to be a huge problem for many people. But if you haven't quite got on the 9 yet, you're waiting on the 10. Hopefully they get through the fog okay. Now over to the weather forecast, where we're looking at a mainly cloudy day today. We do have a small chance of drizzle still with us this morning, and a high temperature today to hit 19 degrees, which is a bit warmer than yesterday, so we're warming up a little bit after what was a bit of a cool day. Somebody in my neighborhood lit the wood fire in their house. You could see the chimney smoke and smell it yesterday. It was that cold. The fires were coming out. A little warmer today, though. And then sunshine for the weekend. It's going to get sunny again and warmer for Saturday, Sunday.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, here we are on a Friday, and it's the day we love to do this.
Oh, eat it. Just eat it. Come on, then, let's go.
Friday food vibes.
You ever think about what we put into our mouths?
All the time.
You are cooking.
On CFAX 1070.
Hey, look, Dallas is here. How's it going, Dallas?
I'm doing well. You know, it's funny, before we start these things, sometimes I question if I'm awake enough to actually do this. But then I feel like I'm like the boxer, like getting pumped up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go.
That's why we got the hype music. It wakes you up and you're ready to go.
Literally within 60 seconds, it changes. It's funny.
Well, let's get into it then. Now that you're ready, now that you've been energized, I want to talk soccer because the World Cup of Soccer has been such a cool thing going on, hosted in part by Canada, and Team Canada doing better than it's ever done in a World Cup. And we've got another game tomorrow, 10 a.m. And this is actually working into what you got on offer here. So how are we going to combine the World Cup with going out to eat this weekend there, Dallas?
Yeah, so Market Square is effectively, I think, the premier place where you're going to want to be watching any of the World Cup. You know, they've got this 20-foot screen, which I think that there's only one of these things on the island, like these screens. So it's like the fact that they were able to secure it for this is pretty nuts. But they've got a schedule up on downtownvictoria.ca. There's a schedule of all the games that are going to be shown in Market Square. There's a couple days where they don't have it, but it is going to be there today through Tuesday, as far as I take it, including the game like you referenced tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Canada game. But just imagine a 20-foot screen. Everyone there is just like super stoked. The energy is great. And effectively, you know, if you go when the country's playing and there's a whole bunch of people from that country there, you almost get transported into like a different, you're not in Victoria anymore. The energy and the atmosphere is like you're somewhere else now. It's a very unique moment in time. And the fact that, you know, Whistleboy and the Drake, shout out to Mike and Lee, you know, the fact that it's there, it's just a really cool opportunity. And I would really implore people to go take part in this.
That's so cool. So Whistleboy and the Drake, and you know, the Drakes you often associate with beer because they got the really expansive tap selection there, and they get a lot of interesting stuff there. But they also do food, which is worth noting at the Drake there.
100%, and they'll take care of you. You know, you're just going to have a blast. So I would implore anyone that's going to watch any World Cup, do it there. Just go to Market Square and have a good time.
Okay, big shout out to Market Square.
100%.
Okay.
And then also downtown, not too far from Market Square. I think you referenced this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
An interesting macaron flavor that happened the other day.
So, okay, let's talk about the dill pickle chip flavor for a macaron. Now, people know what macarons, right? They're like those two, it's like you kind of got like two meringue things, and there's usually a filling in the middle. They're fairly light. They're very French, I think. And there's this place called Bon Macaron in Victoria that does them, but they don't just do the ones you'd expect, you know, like vanilla and chocolate or, you know, those kind of flavors that you see. They will do.
Yeah, salted caramel.
I've once had a pea flavored macaron, you know, like garden peas. Mm-hmm. And it was delicious, and I didn't understand. Like, I ate this thing, and I was like, I don't know why this is good. This should be the worst thing I've ever tried, and it's delicious. I didn't get it, but I understood that there's this whole world of, like, weird flavored macarons. And then for Canada Day, you tried a dill pickle chip flavor. What was that like?
And it had the tang. So shout out to Chris, by the way. I don't know how he nailed this so perfectly, but it was exactly like you're eating dill pickle chips. It's got that little bit of tang to it. When they did this, they did put cream cheese in the middle part and the icing part. So that really rounded the flavor out. You weren't just getting like, your tongue wasn't getting destroyed by dill pickle flavoring. Like there was something to sit on there, and it was a really, really well balanced and flavor. I personally like dill pickle chips, but I would think that if somebody doesn't like those chips, their brain probably would have broke.
Probably not for you.
This thing because,
I would have the broken brain. Yeah, no.
Okay,
I'm
actually,
a hard pass.
What's your take on dill pickle chips, Lisa?
Well,
No?
I don't like those either.
You don't?
I
Okay.
don't really like dill. I'm more of the sweet than the savory.
Okay.
However, you're just messing with my mind, putting that in a macaron.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, on Canada Day, they always do like a unique flavor. And so a few years ago, they did a ketchup chip flavor. And that one had the exact bite of the chips as well. So on Canada Day, they really try to come up with something unique. And the cool thing about Bon Macaron is, I don't know how many flavors they have at any given day. There's like 30 or 40 of them. Mm-hmm. But they do have the classics like salted caramel. They've got this really cool dehydrator in the shop there where they can really take things and like when you have a strawberry one, like you're having actual strawberries in the macaron.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The amount of people, Yeah, the amount of people that I've talked to that said they don't like macarons, then I give them one of the ones from Bon Macaron, and they're instantly like converted. Like I can't tell you how many times that's happened. And they don't skimp out on like the ingredients that go into it. I don't want to butcher what I'm talking about. I think it's buttercream or something.
No, I love what they make. Their product is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's why people come here to actually order them. But I just got to pass them the dill.
Okay, no dill pickle, but
For me personally.
My favorite one is the fuzzy peach. The fuzzy peach candy ones.
Really? That
are-
sounds cool.
If you like those candies, these macarons are like a gift from I don't even know where. It's like now you
It's
know they
beyond
exist.
the heavens.
Now you
Manna
need-
from heaven.
I think so. Like once you know they exist, you have to have it every once in a while just to be like, oh yeah, it's amazing.
Remind people where Bon Macaron is downtown.
Oh no, I don't. I think it's on Broad Street.
Yeah, it's Broad
It's right
Street.
on
Yeah.
Broad Street, where it's closed off. Yeah, across from Pagliacci's.
Yeah, near Pagliacci's on Broad Street. Yeah.
Look for the crowd.
We got you.
Right
We
across
got
from
you. All right. Well, I just noticed something. We're out of time. Oh my gosh. That's Dallas from the Vic
was
Food
fun.
Guys. We had so much to say, and we'll just have to do it again next week.
Yeah. I hope you guys have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. We'll talk again. More food with Dallas and the Vic Food Guys, and do follow his Instagram page, by the way, for more of this stuff. Have a great weekend, everybody.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Best with your CFAX 1070 News to 9 o'clock. Victoria Mayor Marin Alto says she's pleased council endorsed a new approach to the cost of business patio licenses. The increases will now be tied to the cost of living index. Alto say having patios here, especially in the summer months, brings something very special.
Patios, particularly in a city like Victoria, which has year-round weather most of the time, really do change the way we interact with one another. And certainly they're an enormous boon, I think, to businesses that can provide some type of a service that can be activated outside, obviously mostly restaurants and bars. But in this case, it really changes the ambiance, I think, of a streetscape. And I like that. And I think it's really positive, and I'm really glad that staff found a way to bring that forward and that council endorsed it.
The changes will be incorporated into the current patio bylaw that exists. The controversial motion about the future of the harbor safe consumption site on Pandora was defeated yesterday in a 7-1 vote. It called for the city to ask Island Health to eventually cease operations at that location. The motion introduced by Councillor Mark Gardner.
Let me be clear. What we are seeing on Pandora and beyond is not an outcome of compassion. Compassion is not placing vulnerable people in situations where they become victims of illicit drug dealers and criminals. True compassion is to do what we can do to break the cycle of misery and dependence of those caught in the grip of drug addiction. The harbor has become a magnet for those addicted to drugs and for drug dealers and criminals who prey on the weak and defenseless.
Mayor Marinalto says Victoria is carrying the weight to the region when it comes to services like those available at the harbour site. She's asking for other communities in the neighbourhood to step up and also for more provincial and federal help. We Canadians continue to hop aboard planes to take flights, even as ticket prices remain well above last year's levels.
Travel search platform CFAX says domestic economy airfares stood 11% higher in late June than a year earlier, while international fares were comparable year over year. Air Canada and other major North American airlines have said demand going into peak travel season is proving resilient despite geopolitical instability in parts of the world. Travel expert Barry Choi says as long as demand holds steady, airlines have little incentive to lower their fares, despite fuel prices coming back down to earth. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
The federal government asking unions and employers for more feedback on how to smooth out wrinkles in Canada's labour relationships. Ottawa doing a second round of consultations this summer on the future of the labour code after a first try in the spring didn't go deep enough on some thorny issues. Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says the aim is to prevent blow-ups between the parties and keep bargaining at the table.
Ultimately, the goal of these consultations is to understand how to minimize those times where relationships are so frayed, where people are so angry with each other that coming to an agreement about the next 5 years seems like an impossible task.
Hajdu says modernizing the labour code could include guardrails or alternatives to using Section 107, which has become a controversial tool to scuttle work stoppages in recent years. Tonight expected to be the night, we think, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting married at New York City's Madison Square Garden. However, there are reports the pair have already said their I do's in a smaller private ceremony before the celebration. 1,100 guests expected today at 2:30 our time. Before the party, the couple donated $26 million to a total of 20 charities across the country. One of them was After School Stars, which has programs in several cities. Ben Paul is the CEO.
This is a transformative gift, and it will set the After School All-Stars in New York and in Cleveland in such a way that we'll be able to both be around for much longer and serve more students.
Very nice power move from a power couple. On your markets, the TSX is up 312 points at 35,279. Our Canadian dollar holding at 70.40 cents U.S. Today's CFAX 1070 news poll. Do you have faith in a memorandum of understanding that BC will be compensated for environmental risks if Ottawa imposes an oil pipeline? You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. CFAX forecast, we still have a chance of drizzle, slight chance of drizzle or showers this morning. Winds picking up to west 30 along the Juan de Fuca Strait, a high 19. Mainly cloudy tonight, low 12. Mainly sunny tomorrow, and a high of 20.
Hey, it's Adam Sterling. I'm live at 11 a.m., diving into the issues that matter most here in the Capital Region. Right after Vashi Capellos, don't miss it on CFAX 1070 and the all-new iHeartRadio app.
This is the Graham Richardson Show on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Well, it is Tim Powers sitting in for Graham Richardson. Yesterday, I got to impersonate Vashi Capellos. Today, I get to impersonate Graham Richardson, and I'm obviously a pale imitation of them both. On this Friday, July the 3rd, we've got a ton of things to talk about, but first I want to tell you, I am coming to